Welcome to Pick Me Up, I'm Scared, the podcast.
I'm your host, Madeline, and today we do not have Kenna. Kenna is out. This is week 2 of Kenna being out for a little 4-week breaky, but we do have a very special guest host, my best friend, Kennedy.
Hey!
That's Kennedy. So Kenna will be still active on the Patreon. So our 2 bonus episodes this month on Patreon will still feature Kenna, and Kenna is still answering your messages like normal over on Patreon. Just needed a little break from the main episodes for a while. The only other thing I want to talk about before we really get started here is just to let you know, as always, my book is still available for pre-order. If you haven't pre-ordered it yet, the numbers are really helpful for the team in general, because pre-orders all count towards the first week of like book sales release, and that helps you get on charts. And if we do well on the charts, we can beat some of the really scummy, bad personal finance books that are out there that just like, the joke I always make is tell you you're going to be a landlord who owns 39 apartment complexes, and that's the only path to financial stability. So if you want to beat that narrative, please help pre-order my book. It is available wherever books are sold, and there will be a link in the description of this episode to a location where you can pre-order either the audiobook or the physical book. And yes, I will be reading the audiobook.
I'm so excited for you to read the audiobook.
Are you?
Yeah, it just sounds so cute. I don't know.
Oh, that's so nice.
I'm so excited to read your book. Yeah.
Yay. You're in the book.
What, do I have an alias?
No, I used your name.
Okay.
But legal said that it didn't sound like you would sue me, so that must mean it's a really good portrayal.
Okay, cool.
There were some people, they were like, this person might sue you. And I was like, yeah, maybe.
Oh my gosh, now I'm so excited to read it.
Yeah.
To guess who those people are. I actually can guess who those people are.
You know. I had a bigger section with you in it, actually, but it got edited out.
Oh, they didn't buy what I was selling.
Well, I think it was more, okay, basically I had a chapter about Drew, my partner who died, for anybody who doesn't know who Drew is.
R.I.P.
Yes, and it was a really, really long chapter, and part of the chapter was when you got me the job freelancing at his business.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So that all got lost.
The good old days.
Yeah, so with that all out of the way, we can dive into the episode. As you may have guessed, Kennedy and I have known each other for a very long time.
Yeah, what are we, like 12 years? 13,
12 or 13?
15? Something.
15? 10, between 10 and 15 years.
Safe to say, yes.
Yes. And Kennedy, what do you do for work?
I am a makeup artist.
And you are a pretty good makeup artist.
Okay, that's very sweet.
Yeah, you're not going to say it about yourself. So I have to gush about you a little bit. In the time that we've been friends, you have been so dedicated to your craft and worked so hard and just been so smart about positioning yourself like as a makeup artist with a specific like niche, I would say. And yeah, you're really, really good at what you do. And
thank you. That's so sweet. I mean, it's one of those jobs that people are always like, oh my gosh, your job must be so glamorous and so fun and just like fabulous. And it is to an extent, but it's also such a grind. It's like the grind behind the scenes that nobody knows about, you know?
Yes, and you've reached a point in your career where I have to name drop a little bit so people have the context for what level I think you are performing this job at. So I think your most famous client's probably Madonna. That's the most famous client I think you've ever had. But you've also had Christina Aguilera was your client for a while. That was a big name thing. You've done Pamela Anderson.
Yes.
You have also done more kind of like, I would say like kooky kind of like cult hero-y type people. Like you did Juliette Lewis once. I remember that was like an interesting thing. You've done a lot of like the young hip like Euphoria crowd is like those are people that you're friends with, I would say.
Barbie, so, like, Alexa, Hunter, and then Amanda's not part of the Euphoria crowd.
No, but Amanda is socially adjacent, I would say, right? So Amanda Stunberg.
Oh my God, Holly Madison.
Yes, you did Holly Madison. Yeah.
Oh wait, nobody knows that yet. I guess I shouldn't.
Oh,
whatever.
Okay, that's okay. Whatever. Yeah, I think that your audience is usually just like an iconic bimbo or like an iconic kind of
himbo, thembo.
Yeah, or I was going to say just like gay. It's just like really gay. It's like hip and gay, or it's like just the most hyper femme blonde, like iconic people you can imagine from like your own childhood that you grew up like seeing on TV all the time or seeing
I love nostalgia. I know some people are anti-nostalgia, but I feel like doing makeup on those types of people, like I get the assignment.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yes. So you were obviously at a level in doing makeup where you you are working with people who have a lot of expectations and a lot of demands, and you're really, really good at fulfilling those things. You also are just like, yeah, you said, like on a grind, you're like really, really busy. So there'll be like weeks, I know, where you're like, I'm on a plane, I'm going to Brazil, and then from Brazil I fly to Paris, and then from Paris I fly to New York, and I get to sleep in like my own bed for one night, and then I'm off again, and then it's just like this endless cycle for months and months at a time, and then all of a sudden you go home and you're like, oh, I'm off for 2 weeks. Yeah. And then it just starts again.
Yeah. I think that like a huge learning lesson that I had maybe last year, honestly, was the biggest, I think, aha, was a work balance.
Yes.
Like a life work balance. And I think that having that time off and knowing like what I want to do in that time is a really important lesson for anybody who's like planning on doing this job. Because you kind of never know when you're going to be slammed, and you never know when you're going to be slow. So maybe, I feel like COVID helped. I feel like all of us doing like fun stuff during COVID really helped with that, actually.
Yeah, during COVID we did like a lot of like camping
road
or like
trips.
little road trippy type things. Like during lockdowns. I know COVID's still a thing, obviously.
Yeah.
But during lockdowns, when people weren't sure how contagious or like how things worked, and it was very just like, don't leave your house, don't do anything, we would do just like road trips to the middle of the desert and just camp, and we were in like a little bubble, you and me and my boyfriend.
Yeah, we would test like separately and
Yeah.
then link up and like have a little bubble of like safe car zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, it was really fun, I think, for us. We were lucky. A lot of people obviously had a really hard time during lockdown, but I think we all had a really good time. But I do see what you mean. Like, that kind of shifted your perspective because it, like, forced you to relax.
Yeah.
Because you
and
couldn't work.
It didn't make it easy. It was definitely a hard time, like, thinking about how to get paid and how to make ends meet. And, you know, I know everybody kind of experienced that. But I do think that on the brighter side, the things that COVID taught me were definitely live-work balance and how to enjoy my time when I do have those stints of time off, you know?
Right, totally. And not just be, like, in the fear zone. But,
Yeah.
like, what if this time off is this time off because nobody's ever going to book me again?
Literally.
And you're like, that doesn't make sense at all, Kennedy. And you're like, no. What if they just never book me again? And you're like, what?
Yeah, you go to bad brain zone for sure.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know how to do makeup. Like, I've just lost every possible, you know, technique, and my craft is just trash now.
And it's literally just because you have like 2 days blank in your schedule. Yeah.
Literally. Well, I think therapy helped with that too.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is your wheelhouse, is the world of makeup. And usually I wait a little bit to intro the topic, but I think everybody kind of gets the idea that since, you know, we have Kenna out and I'm bringing in people I know to talk about things they're familiar with. Last week we did David, and since he is a man, I made him talk about masculinity.
It's the perfect person to talk about masculinity too.
Such a macho masculine man. He's not at all.
He's so sweet.
He's great. So today I thought we would talk to you, Kennedy, about makeup.
I'm excited. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm not quite as scholarly as David. I'm insecure about that.
No, you know, we call it, what do we call it? Smart?
Oh, yeah, smart. And then if you're not smart, you're potato. I'm potato.
I don't think you're potato. I think you're very smart.
It's okay. I guess I am secure in the fact that I am potato.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you some questions just to, like, not only establish a baseline about your career, but also, like, establish a baseline for who you are and the perspective you bring to this that might be a little unique. So the two questions I wanted to ask you to get started are, you know, explain how you initially decided you wanted to get into makeup, like what appealed to you about it, and then how did you jumpstart your career from that point?
Okay. Chime in if I forget something.
Okay. The story in particular I was thinking about that you've told in, like, your bios and stuff is just about how you did art growing up.
Yeah, I feel like one of the main, I guess, genetic blessings was my grandmother was a painter. An illustrator. She used to do greeting cards for American Greetings. So she specifically painted mostly with, like, watercolors, sometimes oil. But I grew up around her. You know, my mom was working, my dad wasn't in the picture, and she kind of just taught me about color theory, shading, blending, you know, just to be creative. And I think for me, I knew how to paint at a young age, and I'm a social person, and I think it sort of translated into makeup when I was in school. I was doing it on my friends, but there is a picture of me actually from when I was like 3 where I'm holding up like my first piece of makeup.
Really?
Yeah, it's really
that's
cute.
So cute.
And I was totally fascinated with makeup whenever I started, you know, getting it. And I'd borrow my mom's and sort of like squirrel it away somewhere, and so hoping she wouldn't find it and I could keep it forever. But Yeah, I think I started doing makeup because of my grandmother and really got into it post a certain breakup that I was in, and a friend got me a job at a MAC counter. And I started working with MAC Cosmetics, which honestly is such a vibe. It's like free school.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you were just working like at a MAC counter in a mall, right?
It's not free if it's your labor.
Yeah, I mean, they are profiting off of your labor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they are making a lot of money off of you, making like close to minimum wage in a mall at a counter.
Well, at least you're getting something back that's not just like monetary, like, you know.
You did learn a skill.
Yeah.
And I think some of the most interesting things to see being your friend for so long are like the full circle moments where you're like, yeah, I got my start working at a MAC counter and I was the weirdo girl at the MAC counter that everyone else was like, why don't you do your makeup like us? Why don't you look like us? You're never going to make it in this world, sweaty, unless you do the MAC girl look. And then to leave that, and then now you do like master classes for MAC, or you do like MAC campaigns, you know? You do have this like full circle moment where you just like kind of stuck to what you thought was cool. And I think that is something also unique about you. You have good taste, you have interesting taste, you have a less common taste.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and
that's
I think
so sweet.
It's true though, and I think it is.
I think you have good taste too. I think like the freaks kind of pool together.
It's true, yeah. But I think like the biggest thing is that you have technique, but you also have like a perspective. And I think that the perspective probably comes from approaching it as art, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think what you said about you being really social is interesting, because that means there is this like pro-social element to makeup. It is human to human.
Yeah. You talk about that a lot, like in our friendship, how you're like, I don't know how you can like be around that many people, or, you know, a particular person, or just putting up with people's kind of nonsense, but it's all kind of a game in the end. You know what I mean? Like, you're kind of just playing a game.
You're really, really good at, I think like what you do is when you interact with people who are maybe high maintenance or difficult, or maybe even some people who have been like famous so long or successful so long that they're a bit just detached from how the real world works. You're really good at viewing everybody in those situations with a certain level of empathy and meeting them where they are.
Yeah.
Like you can look at somebody and be like, okay, you're having a rough day, or like you're not being so kind maybe to everybody here, or you're whatever vision you're trying to execute is not the same as everybody else, and instead of getting frustrated, you view that as a challenge, and you're like, I'm gonna bridge this gap, I'm gonna solve this problem, I'm gonna do this thing. And I've always thought that was really cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think ultimately at the end of the day, like, no matter how much someone has been in the spotlight or how quote unquote famous they are, they still are like a person,
right? And
they still like experience like human emotions and human reactions to things. So it's kind of like, it almost makes it easier for me to handle somebody if they're being, you know, particularly difficult. I'm like, oh, you're not just like this, like, you know, person that people have viewed for, you know, generations. It's like, actually you're a human and you have a soul and you're like, you know, beautiful in your own way.
Right. It's the humanization rather than like the objectification.
Yeah, totally.
Like when you become famous, I experience this even just with my TikTok. It's like people view you as an object, and lots of times an object that's a reflection of their identity.
Yeah.
So how they relate to you says something about who they are. So it's like
project.
Yeah, they project all of their identity onto famous people, or people they perceive to be famous. I don't even think I'm a famous person, but some people treat me even that way in a small regard. So for people who are really, really, really successful, you know, it goes even further. But yeah, when you get to see somebody for their humanity, not just this like two-dimensional image of who they are, how they're portrayed on like the screen on your phone, or like it used to be back in like tabloids even, or celebrity gossip rags, whatever, you're like, oh no, you're an actual person. You're not just like the idea or entity that you've been made out to be, right, by these people who are profiting off of you.
Also, I think I learned with my job that the tabloids are so, it's like hyper like sensationalized like nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, I've met these people that certain tabloids are about, and I'm like, that didn't even happen. Or that's not even true. And I'm like, oh, no, this is wild. Like, now every time I see a headline, I'm like, oh, that person's either trolling for, you know, some sort of boost in their, like, Google search or some shit.
They're in control of the narrative, and they're putting it out there for a reason.
Or it's literally just, like, slander coming from someone else.
Right. I mean, if you Google me, it says my net worth is between $1 to $5 million.
Oh, hell yeah. I love that.
And that's the first time I did it. I was like, what? No, my net worth is just the equity I have in my house right now.
Right.
Which is like $100,000 maybe. Because
wait, is that really how much we have?
Our equity's pretty good, yeah. So I'm only 25% owner of the property. For those of us at home who have not been following along, Kennedy and I, along with my boyfriend,
scammed the system.
We collectively own a multifamily property, and there's 2 units, and one is Kennedy and one is ours. So, yeah, I only have 25% ownership, and I think my equity is around $125,000. So yours is probably $250,000 because you're 50% owner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Interesting. This is why I always try to tell people to buy a house, because it's the same amount of money we would have been paying into rent anyway, and now
we should do a podcast about that whole process.
That would be really good, actually. That
fun.
could be a good bonus episode for our Patreon subscribers.
Okay, I'm down.
Okay, we'll do that
okay,
sometime.
let's go back to
Okay, anyway, so back in the world of makeup, though, yeah, I think that your approach to makeup is really interesting because you are not trying to, like, for lack of a better term, you're not trying to, like, snatch everybody's face. Like, you're not trying to make everybody look like this one-size-fits-all kind of idea of what, like, a quote-unquote perfect woman is supposed to present as.
Right.
Like, you very much are interested in working with a person, seeing who they are, and you, even the people who are like, well, no, like, I am hot girl trademark and I want to be hot girl. You're like, yes, okay, I fuck with that. What if we did something a little fun though?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really special thing that you do. And I think that makes your perspective on makeup less about beautification and more about like play and fun.
Yeah, I think makeup is about like, it's not permanent unless it's permanent.
Right.
And we'll get to that later.
Yes,
but I think that it's about like, something that is just there for the day or a couple days if you want to wear it for a couple days. But I think that, that's sort of the beauty behind makeup, no pun intended. It's like meant to have fun and meant to make you feel a certain emotion in a certain way. And that's also what art is. So it's cool that like the two kind of can go hand in hand and you can actually do that. You're not just in this like baddie makeup zone,
Right.
Which is cool too. No offense to a baddie makeup artist.
No, it's fun and it's cool. I think like I view fashion the same way. That's what I always say is like fashion is the only form of art every single person has to participate in every single day. Even like if you have like
not if you're a nudist.
That is a choice though.
It's true.
It's a choice you're making, so that's a statement. That's an artistic statement to free yourself from the clothes, right?
That is kind of fashion shit.
It is. It's so fashion. I mean, even if you have like the most like cowboy like Walmart uncle who's like, I just buy the clothes that are at the Walmart because that's what's cheap.
Time Lord.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever is going on, it's like, well, you're doing that. That's like a statement politically. Yeah. When you're like, I don't care about fashion, I'm just buying the cheapest thing I can find. That's a political statement that reflects your socioeconomic status, your perspective on the world, your position, and like, yeah, so I feel like makeup is the same thing. It's like the choices you make to wear it or not wear it or how much to adhere to the beauty standard versus how much to just play and have fun or try to reject the beauty standard or sometimes to use makeup to maybe make yourself look unappealing, which some people do. Like those are all artistic choices.
I have this thing coming out with Indiana. Indiana's a friend of ours that is a photographer and creative director and makes videos and stuff, but he's doing like it's an ugly bimbo.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's really good.
So fun. Yeah. But yeah, I do feel like a lot of people really hate makeup conceptually. I feel like people think that makeup is this box that you have to squeeze yourself into, or it's like a way that you're supposed to trick people into thinking you adhere to this really narrow beauty standard like more than you do. And I think that's a really small way to view like what makeup is on the whole.
Yeah.
And I don't know, have you ever encountered people who think that way or feel that way?
It's funny because I feel like it's like very few people in the US are like that. I feel like more people in Europe are kind of like less is more, nothing is more almost.
Right.
Like, but yeah, I've definitely like been on sets where it's like we don't want makeup at all. And I'm like, why am I here?
Yeah,
but
then what do you do?
Brush a brow or something? Or put lip balm on, but make sure there's not a booger up somebody's nose. But yeah, I mean, I think to each their own and like no judgment, but that's maybe not the job for me.
Right. I also feel like a lot of it probably of that idea stems because like we live in patriarchy, right? Like the systems are set up to benefit men, and you see men all the time malign women for wearing like too much makeup, like they're deceiving them. There's like those jokes that are like, fellas, take her swimming on a first date, haha, because it's like she doesn't look like this picture, and then women of course clap back on the internet and they're like, it is not my fault if you are so stupid you thought my eyelids were shimmery and gold. Like that is eyeshadow, you dumbass. Like I don't need to coddle you.
You know what's so funny? I don't know why I just thought of this, but there was a job a long time ago where there was this male art director that was driving me insane. Like he actually made me want to like peel my skin off. And the reason why is because I'd asked him for references of what, usually before I do a shoot, we get creative or like they address us on like what the whole direction of the shoot is. And I never got that. So I'm on set sort of like, what am I doing? What's going on? You know? And I didn't have creative control on that shoot. So this man was like, oh, why don't we just like throw a red lip on her? And I was like, what? Like, nothing against a red lip. Love a red lip in a certain situation, but it's almost like that's all he, like, knew.
Yeah.
And I was just like, sir, excuse me.
Right.
Like, that is not what makeup is about. It's not about shimmery eyelids and just red lips, you know?
But that is a very, like, male gaze perspective,
Yeah.
which we actually will talk about men and the red lip a little bit later.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, my
so
gosh.
we will read this man to filth, actually.
Yes,
I think. Yeah. Yes.
That's so funny.
There's also, though, a thing about, like, sometimes women will malign other women for wearing too much makeup. And I feel like this is less popular now, but in the 90s, I feel like this was everywhere.
I also think it's, like, a boomer thing.
Yes, I think so, too.
Because some boomers sometimes will make comments that I'm just like, interesting. Like, haven't heard somebody say that in quite some time.
Yeah, I think it's like a second wave feminism thing where it was just like, for women to be respected in society, we need to become men. We need to like eschew all of our femininity, and we are going to perform masculinity to be respected and treated as equal. And, you know, I was not really, I think I was alive during second wave feminism, but obviously not old enough to participate in it. So I can't speak to that. Maybe that is what the movement needed at that time in the United States. But I know by the time I was more sentient and aware and involved, we were into third wave feminism, which had just kind of said, like, well, there's nothing inherently wrong with reflecting masculinity or femininity. We just need to allow everybody space to do that, and both need to be respected equally.
Right. Equality.
Yeah. So I do feel like we've moved away from that a little bit. But yeah, I think there are a lot of reasons why people wear makeup in our culture, and maybe some of them are from this kind of place where society is set up a way that like it's hard to exist if you are a feminine person without like performing femininity constantly to like please the patriarchal dude standards, right? Like if you've got a dude boss who thinks that women look professional by wearing blush and a red lip, then you got to show up every day to work in your little skirt suit with your hair pulled back in a bun and that red lip on, and that's because your boss thinks that's what looks professional, and you can't control that, right? That's like a system of power. Like men are more likely to be in positions of power, and they make the rules. So there are things like that where you're like, that is awful, but there are also all these things that are like really explorative and fun and expressive when you get to control, you know, what you do with it, right? So I think some of the reasons people wear makeup, yeah, for sure, might be like from this oppressive place. But I think a lot of it, and increasingly more and more and more, are from this like really fun and freeing place.
Like liberating space.
Yeah, and I always felt like the three main reasons people wore makeup was like, number one, gender affirmation.
For sure,
which could be if you're a queer person or a trans person, but also could be if you're a cis person. Like I think a lot of cisgender women like wear makeup to affirm their femininity.
Yeah.
And, you know, I consider myself non-binary, but, like, I have always worn makeup, and sometimes it is to affirm gender. Like, when I'm, like, super performing gender, like, if I'm single and I'm going out at night, I'm always like, I'm gonna be a bimbo tonight.
Yeah.
And I put on something black and tiny and short, and then I put on all my makeup, and I even do my makeup differently when I do that.
Totally.
Because I'm like,
it's characters, like different avatars.
It is. It's an avatar I play. I play the fishing for hotties avatar.
Oh, yeah. This is like a thing that happens.
Yeah.
So, I wish everybody knew that that side of you. It's so funny.
It is funny. But there is like this gender affirming element to it because it is so linked to like femininity in our culture. So anybody who wants to express femininity might engage in it to affirm that gender expression. There's also like the social expectation, which is like what I was talking about. Like, yeah, sometimes you're just expected to wear makeup if you present super feminine. Like some workplaces might expect that of you. Or if you go to like a fancy event, depending on your family or the culture of the experience, like you might be expected to wear makeup. You know, it's different for everybody. And then the third reason I think people wear makeup is literally just for fun, like for fashion. Like just like you would put on a funny little hat or a pair of hair clips.
Expression.
Yeah, you're like, this is something fun I can do to add a little something extra to my look.
A badge of flair.
Yes, it's flair. It's flair, yeah. And I think that I've personally used makeup for all three of those reasons in my life pretty regularly, in and out of each other. And, you know, obviously the social expectation that feminine people should have to wear makeup is a bad thing. We should work to undo that. But the other stuff seems kind of harmless to me and just, like, fun.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think makeup can be, I mean, the affirming aspect of things I've experienced. I've helped friends, like, experience and, like, pull through hard times with that, which, like, that feels so nice, like, to see somebody experience that, you know, and, like, glow because of that. You can see a twinkle in someone's eye when they're really happy with their makeup.
Yeah.
It's like a thing that happens and a look they give you of, like, confidence, you know?
Yes.
So, like, that, helping someone through that sort of thing feels really nice. And Yeah, I mean, I would say I've probably experienced all three on my own as well, but...
Yeah, I think most people do. So, yeah, it's never really made sense to me why makeup is so reviled by some people in society. But...
Trauma.
Yeah, it is. It's true, though. Yeah.
Their parents scolded them for wearing too much makeup at some point.
I mean, that's a thing, too.
They dialed it back.
Yeah.
That's sad. I'm like,
it's sad.
Let your inner freak out, sweetie.
Yeah, wear as much eyeliner and lip liner as your heart desires.
Oh my god, wait. I just thought of a really funny story about a friend of mine went to, like, a goth show, and they... It was dark, and they were reaching into their purse, and they needed a lip balm, like a Carmex, like in a pot type lip balm.
Oh, yes. Oh, no.
This is somebody that worked at the makeup counter at MAC with me. It was so funny. And she said that, you know, she was handed this pot of Carmex, and it was dark, and she put it on, and then the lights turned on. And she had taken a gel eyeliner that's in a pot and, like, eyeliner. Wiped it all over her mouth, like, really messy. And I was like, well, I'm glad that it was a goth show, because at least it sort of, like, you know, suited the look. But I couldn't imagine. It's so funny.
It's so funny. Okay, so I thought the place we would start, because I start with, like, the history of things a lot in my episodes. So I thought we would start with the history of makeup.
Cool.
But I don't want to go, like, super gnarly into it. But there is some super interesting stuff. So one of the things I thought was the most interesting is that most people think that as long as people have existed, they have decorated themselves with lots of things, including makeup. So in 2010, archaeologists discovered an area with a bunch of bright ground-up minerals in a Spanish Neanderthal encampment, and they're pretty sure this was cosmetics, and this dates back to 50,000 BC.
Whoa.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have been wanting to decorate ourselves.
That's right.
Yes. Forever.
Do you think there was, like, a soul makeup artist in those, like, little camps?
Oh, maybe.
People?
Like, there's probably someone who was really good.
Right.
So everyone was like, I want to go to them.
They're like, oh, her liner's snatched, or their liner's snatched. Like, I wonder if they could do it on me, you know?
Right. This could have been you.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Yeah.
totally.
Yes.
Making eyeliner out of pebbles.
Exactly. And the earliest, like, kind of cultural associations that we probably think of when we think of makeup would be, like, ancient Egypt, like 6,000 BC.
That's what I was thinking you were going to say, but...
Yeah, and it is, like, a good, interesting place to start to delve into it because I feel like maybe it's one of the earliest examples we have of people using makeup the same way we think of makeup today.
Yeah.
You know, there was, like, some people are like, oh, well, like, they thought that wearing makeup appealed to the gods, and we don't know. We have no way to verify that. Like, there were all those things you see people post online about, like, their day-to-day lives where some other people will comment on it and be like, oh, yeah, like, 300 years from now, archaeologists are going to make the strangest reason why this exists.
Yeah,
right? You know?
literally.
Yeah, so one of the best examples I saw of this recently, this is kind of a tangent, is there was this house that was uncovered, and it was this, like, ancient house, and there were all these knives in the rafters of the house, and all the archaeologists were like, they believed that putting the knives up closer to the sun would make them sharper in the blade, or,
what?
You know, people were inventing all these reasons, and then this woman looked at it, and she was like, they had kids in the house, and so the kids didn't stab each other.
Right.
And that was the solution.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so... You know, some people are like, well, the ancient Egyptians, they wore makeup to appeal to the gods.
No, but
we
they
don't
just
know.
wore makeup because they wanted to look a certain way, or look cool, or look hot, or whatever.
Yeah, it was more of like a personal thing is probably what a lot of people think. There is this thought that maybe like wearing a lot of eye makeup might have protected you from like the evil eye, so there might be like some cultural thing in there.
Yeah,
which
that kind of
could
makes
be.
sense.
Yeah. But that elaborate eyeliner we know is really characteristic of like how we think of Egyptian makeup from this time period, and we saw it appear in art from Egypt on both men and women as early as 4000 BC.
Right. Isn't like one of the hieroglyphics like a little eye with like makeup on?
It's the Eye of Horus, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that is something where they talk about like the colors they chose for their eye makeup. It is thought to like reference Horus too in certain ways. So
trendsetters.
Yeah. And some people believed that wearing makeup would actually protect them from sun damage and from some form of disease.
I honestly
it's a
believe
barrier.
that. Also, like, yeah, zinc, the mineral, is like one of the biggest. Honestly, a lot of people have allergies to zinc too.
Yeah, it's like a sunscreen, right?
Yeah, but it's like one of the only. I mean, I don't want anybody to come for you because of the skincare.
Well, but the thing I said is the only thing people say definitely works without a prescription is sunscreen.
Yeah, but I think that zinc is like, you know, a physical sunscreen is proven to be like more effective than like, you know, not so. Yeah.
No, hey, the video that the person posted of me on Twitter to be like, this chick's out of her mind, they actually cut off the very end where I was like, literally the only thing people will tell you is definitely going to work without a prescription is sunscreen.
You got edited.
I got edited.
Annoying.
I was a victim. I was a victim of misinformation.
That's right, babe. Let's flip that narrative.
So, okay, yeah. So makeup was like a pretty, just like normal thing in Egypt. Men and women of every social class wore it. It was available to everyone. And the only thing that kind of would be different based on your class were the applicators and storage containers you had. So if you're super wealthy, you might have like more ornate versions of that. And like if you were a peasant, you might be like, I got this clay pot and I use this stick to mix it.
A cork for your blush.
Exactly. But the wealthy would have access to these like delicately crafted boxes and applicators that were like bejeweled or made of ivory. And this totally just reminds me of today when you look at like the BeauTube bloggers who have all the fancy brush sets and stuff. And then like I just smear my makeup on with my hands. I
mean, it's so funny too when I see that stuff because luxury brands like... Sorry not to out any luxury brands. Love you guys all. But it's like, it's funny because sometimes they do not hit.
No.
And I'm like, man, I'm just going to go back to my drugstore like favorite. And you better believe I have some of those in my kit. And I use some of those on some of those celebs that we talked about. Like,
yeah.
I don't think everything, sure, some of the stuff I have is like a luxury item, but the packaging really doesn't matter. It's what's inside.
Right. So the packaging back in ancient Greece or ancient Egypt days was just, the only thing that really set it apart. They were working with the same products. The makeup was what the makeup was. But yeah, people did have different kind of ritual, like they would perform with it just in their personal lives. Like I have the fancy things. I have the fancy box. And I think a lot about like makeup and cosmetics as like a form of ritual we engage in today.
Totally.
Too.
I feel like today even it was one of the first times I had like done a full face on myself just because life has been so hectic, and I really sat and like enjoyed it and like was like, oh, I'm gonna try this new eyeliner or this new shadow that I haven't used yet, and it was like really uplifting for me. And then afterwards I called my boyfriend and I was just like, hey, feeling really cute. And yeah, it's like funny how much it can like shift your mood having a ritual or a habit that affirms things so much or makes you like play this character avatar like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, totally. So I feel like this is kind of the way people have always related to makeup historically. The most popular makeup in Egypt was kohl, right? The black eyeliner that people still use today, honestly. They used to make it, I guess, from a gray ore called galena, which I had never heard of. And they would often, do like a blue or green eyeshadow specifically to reference like Horus or Ra in some way. So that's like the Eye of Horus kind of plays into that. And red lipstick was also really popular in Egypt. It was made by mixing fat together with a red ochre kind of thing. And they would also do henna to stain fingertips and toes. Like, doesn't Michelle LeMay do that?
I was going to say, Michelle LeMay does that.
And also powder to lighten their face to be more dramatic looking. So that's kind of the first when we think about like cultures experiencing makeup. We know a lot about Egypt and how makeup was represented like through their art. It was very visual and it was very extreme.
Documented,
so, yeah, very well documented. And then if we go up in time to like 4000 BC, that's like ancient Greece. So people in ancient Greece and Rome were definitely wearing makeup. But they started to strive for like this more natural look.
I feel like they were the no makeup.
They were the no makeup people.
Kings and queens and they thems and
totally. And there's actually this story even that I told on a different podcast episode where there was like a party and there was this game people would play where you would go around in a circle and everyone would have to say something that everyone had to do, or like no, you would do it and everyone had to copy you. That's what it was. So there was this party and there was this really young woman there and everybody was always like, she's so beautiful, and she never wore makeup because she was so beautiful. She didn't need to wear makeup. And then there were a lot of older women there who were wearing makeup to make themselves look like that no makeup look. So she, when it came to her turn to do something and everyone had to copy, she wiped her entire face off with a wet rag, like a wet washcloth. So everyone had to do it.
That's so mean.
It was so mean. It's such a fucked up story, right? Because she could be like, haha, I still look great because I'm young and beautiful and you all look like shit because you're old.
Oh, God.
I know, really, really mean story.
I hate her.
Yeah. So their version of the no makeup that they would wear would be like a little bit of color on their cheeks or lips, which they would make just by like mixing plants or fruit with lead-based dyes and mercury.
Whoa.
Yeah, really gnarly. And sometimes they would wear like a light powder foundation, but the main emphasis was really on like their homemade skincare products, which would be honey and olive oil.
Ooh, that sounds cute.
So they did all this, and then sometimes they would do like a strong eyebrow thing. Like they would use olive oil and charcoal to try to make their eyebrows seem a little bolder and maybe darken a little around the eyes. But this was kind of like that, again, no makeup kind of makeup vibe. So then around the same time, just a little bit later on, 3000 BC to 600 in China, I thought something was really interesting is Chinese royalty used to use nail polish to represent their rank and like social status.
Whoa.
Yeah, so high-ranking leaders were supposed to wear like silver or gold, and low-ranking leaders wore black or red, and then poor people were not allowed to wear nail polish at all.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah, I know, bummer, right? And then around the year 600, wealthy Chinese women began to use light-colored foundations, which are usually made up of a very white powder to distinguish themselves from the working class. And there was also like a trend of wearing red powder on your cheeks and darkening your eyebrows. And most of these pigments were made by boiling plants, animal fat, spices together.
Bugs, too.
And bugs, yeah.
Yeah, they make red from like little bugs. It's so sad.
They still do that, I think, with some dyes. That's why some dyes aren't vegan. Yes. Yeah, and they would also sometimes paint their lips in like a heart shape.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, it's cute. Then also in Babylonia around this time, it's like 2000 BC to 500 BC, archaeologists have recently unearthed something in what would have been Babylonia back then that was a solid gold manicure set that was part of a soldier's combat equipment.
We love.
I know, right?
A masked person with clean nails is honestly just like, mwah.
And a solid gold manicure.
Yeah, I love that.
And they think that dated to around 3200 BC even. So we know that in Babylonia there was some makeup activity happening too.
A soldier's, that's so trippy. Like,
it was like strong.
Yeah.
It really shows you how like beauty trends are so socialized.
They really are, honestly.
Then if we get to like more what we think of as being like the precursors to Western ideas about like makeup and culture, we go to like 600 BC. That's like when Christianity and ancient Rome were kind of happening. And this goes up to the year like 500, like past the BC, you know, the before Christ to the after Christ, whatever. So during this time, Christian writers in particular started to associate makeup with deception. This is when
They're like Jezebel.
Exactly, yes. So makeup is mentioned in the Bible in both the Jewish scriptures and the Christian Old Testament and New Testament. So the book of Jeremiah talks about Jeremiah, and the years dated are around like 627 BC to 586 BC. And in this, they argue against the use of cosmetics because they say that it encourages vanity. So the quote is,
stay pure.
Yeah. And you, O desolate one, what do you mean that you dress in crimson, that you deck yourself with ornaments of gold, that you enlarge your eyes with paint? In vain you beautify yourself. Your lovers despise you. They seek your life. And I'm just like, wow, you're so hot the men want to kill you?
Literally.
I mean, first of all, that's kind of real. Like, that's...
No, that's like still to this day. That's what happens.
Still to this day.
Yeah.
Men want a bad bitch, and then when they can't handle it, they hate her, and they want to hurt her and bring her down.
Right.
This is why domestic violence is such a thing. And
Don't blame it on makeup.
No, it's not makeup's fault. It's the men's fault. It's their fault. They cannot handle women because they are pathetic and weak-willed. So then in 2 Kings, there is the evil queen Jezebel, also in the Bible, right? And she...
Oh my gosh, you know she was snatched.
I know, she probably looks so good. She was described, right, everyone's like, she was wicked, and then she...
Wicked hot.
She was described as having painted her eyes and adorned her head before her death at the behest of the warrior Jehu.
Oh, so she like went out with a bang.
Yeah, she was like, I'm gonna look good doing it.
I honestly, same.
I want that too.
Whenever I die, I hope I'm like really snatched. Will you just make sure?
Yeah, I'll come touch you up.
Yeah,
Yeah. And then I'll call the cops. I'll be like, oh no, something happened. Yeah. So when all this was happening though, and all the Christians were like, makeup's evil, it didn't actually like make people less interested in their appearances. People were always interested in their appearances. It just put the emphasis on skincare rituals instead. So it's still cosmetics. It's just like cosmetic skincare.
Also, you know that they were like sneaking a lip on in the bathroom.
They totally were. And women would just like work on skincare tirelessly to give this appearance of having like a naturally flawless face using homemade recipes. But you're like, this is the same thing. You're still having this like beauty standard people are trying to adhere to. You're just like being really controlled about it now.
Yeah.
And also in ancient Rome around this time, it was really, really common also for like hygiene products to be everywhere, like bath soap, deodorant, moisturizers. Men and women equally would use this. Super popular to like put a lot of stuff on your skin, do a lot of skincare. But there wasn't, again, the emphasis on makeup. Makeup was thought to be like not very cool. So like women were encouraged even to remove body hair. Like that's how in deep they were in beauty culture. But if you wore, for example, rouge, you would have been associated with sex workers. You would have been considered shameful.
It's so wild.
I know, and it's like you're still using products to achieve the same goal. It's just the goal is different.
Yeah.
So not every Roman was resistant to makeup. Like some people, including men, would still rouge their cheeks, whiten their faces, and line their eyes. But they were looked down upon by other people for being like tacky and like déclassé. So it was so common to make fun of people who wore makeup that you can even see examples of this in like Roman plays and performances. They would always mock the people who were made up. And like personal writings of like Roman doctors or philosophers were always talking about how people who wore makeup were just like shameful and tacky.
I think this is where like clowns came from.
Really?
Well, because like rodeo clowns and like, I mean, I don't know the history of clown makeup. We should probably like.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Right? Maybe
yeah.
I can Google it while you're talking.
Okay, yeah. Look up the clowns and then we'll interject with that because I think that is interesting. There was also like this poet, Sextus Propertius, who wrote that looks as nature bestowed them are always most becoming. So these were a lot of people really trying to shame people out of wearing makeup. There was a philosopher, Seneca the Younger, who wrote a letter to his mother in which he praised the fact that she, quote, never defiled her face with paints or cosmetics. And this whole idea, this Roman idea about cosmetics was at least partially rooted in Stoicism, we think, which is a philosophy that talks about moral goodness and human reason. And Stoics did regard beauty as intrinsically related to goodness. So this also said while an attractive physical form might be desirable, true quote-unquote beauty was supposed to be instead associated with moral acts. And if you were decorating your body with cosmetics, for example, it implied a vanity or a selfishness that to Stoics would have been undesirable. And I think it's really interesting because I think we do a little bit of this today. Like, you know, I think the pop culture equivalent of this today is like unproblematic people don't age.
Yes.
But you're like, just because that person looks young and you haven't read anything bad about them doesn't mean that they are a good person. That just means they could afford a lot of cosmetic surgery and, you also have not read a lot of bad things about them. That doesn't mean they didn't do them.
Again, back to like the tabloid.
The tabloid stuff can have you hating a person who's a really good person and then loving somebody
someone who's
evil.
Trash.
Yeah, exactly. So I really learned that when I was like starting to get a little popular on the internet. I was like, oh, the narrative, quote unquote, controls everything, and it doesn't matter if the narrative is real. Did you learn about the
clowns?
The clowns.
Yeah, I mean it's like a class thing. Like, you know, they were entertainers, like to courts, to kings and queens, like jesters. You know.
Yeah, like jesters.
Yeah, but also didn't jesters like test poison for people?
I think that was. I don't know if that was the same job or not, but there was a job where you would have to eat the king's food to see if it was poison.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorite king poisoning stories is not related to this at all, but it is related to lead, and lead was used in makeup, so I think there's a through line.
Circle.
It's a full circle. So basically, for a long time, people thought that tomatoes were poisonous to humans, and you couldn't eat tomatoes. But what was really happening is that when people were served tomatoes on fancy plates...
Oh, the plates had lead.
They had lead
and the
paint
acid
in them.
was... Yes.
Yes, the acid of the tomatoes affected the paint, and then the lead came out, and then people just started eating lead, and then they died. So, lead poisoning. Yes. So this is all super interesting, obviously. And then we get to, like, 330 BC up to, like, 1453, and this is kind of the Byzantine Empire. Here, cosmetics for a time were so popular in the Byzantine Empire that everybody who lived there had this like international reputation for being really vain. They were like those Byzantine people. They love their makeup.
They love a mirror.
Yeah. So I thought that was just interesting.
That is interesting. I'm like, go off.
Yeah.
If you love makeup, love makeup. Be vain.
Love makeup. Be vain, yes. So this kind of gets us up to like the 1300s, and this is where we start to like hone in again on the West because that's where we're from, so that's going to be our cultural experiences. So if we talk about like the Renaissance and what was happening in Europe from the 1300s to the 1600s, the Renaissance era really embraced like all forms of beauty, right? So people were really seeking to attain this idea of beauty. They were even like lightening their skin, doing hair dye, you know, this was like a major thing. And in the 50s, Elizabethan beauty kind of gained popularity. Do you know about the Elizabethan thing?
That's like rosy cheeks, like
plucking the hairlines.
Yeah. Like yes.
Yes.
Like almost making a receding hairline vibe.
Exactly. So women would pluck their eyebrows and their hairlines to give the illusion of having a really big forehead.
I mean, that kind of happens now, too.
Yeah, it totally does. Yes, one of my friends has a really cool haircut where the front half of her head is shaved. Yeah. And she looks so rad. And she often has no eyebrows or bleached eyebrows.
Love
yeah.
Anna.
They also would at this time, though, whiten their skin, too, using this, like, mixture of vinegar and white lead.
Whoa.
Yeah, really gnarly. Lots of lead going on with early makeup. Really lead-focused.
Now everybody wonders why there's, like, lead abatements happening.
Yeah! And they also would color their cheeks and lips with egg whites, ochre, and mercury.
What?
Also a poison. Yeah, they were really going for it. So even, like, Englishmen during the Elizabethan time would powder their faces with this, like, mixture of mercury and stuff from time to time.
Love, like, that everyone was wearing makeup then,
Everyone.
too.
Yeah, it was very common.
Across the board, it's, like, been sort of, like, men and women and, you know, I guess, like, non-binary wasn't, like, a thing that was talked about as much back then.
Well,
but
in some cultures, though, you will see people have, like, not a binary gender expression.
Right.
Yeah, and especially, like, you'd see a lot of trans people going back in, like, every culture.
Yeah, totally,
yeah.
for sure.
So I think, like, a lot of cultures did have kind of non-binary people, but it was just...
Not as disclosed or something?
Some places had the language for it and a space for it culturally, and some places didn't. And Europe didn't really, but... When you look at, like, queer history throughout Europe, it's like, we always been here. The gay people have always been around.
100.
We've always been here, yeah. So, it is interesting, though, that there was an exact moment where in the West, men stopped wearing makeup and engaging in cosmetics. And that's coming up. So, you were right to observe that up until then... Yeah.
The homophobia jumped out.
Yeah, the fear of femininity is what eventually came to change this. But at this time, yes, men were still doing this, but women were engaged in it more. I'm not sure exactly why during this era, but they were so engaged with it, actually, that it brought women's life expectancy at this time down to 29 years.
Oh my God.
Because they just putting lead and mercury all over themselves. Yes, suffer for fashion. Queen Elizabeth I actually contracted smallpox in 1562 at age 29, and this left her skin covered in pockmarks. And this is why she lathered her face in this, like, thick layer of white lead-based makeup.
She said full coverage, babe.
Yes, and this was the 1688 recipe that people found online was just a mixture of water, vinegar, and lead. There are some people who say she didn't die at 29, she died at 69, but still, whatever you're looking at, you're putting lead on your face every single day, and you're looking at the queen who's putting lead on her face every day, and you're like, that's what's cool, the queen's doing it, I'm gonna put lead on my face every day. Everyone was just putting lead everywhere.
Was like, let's die.
Yeah, let's die. Then by the 1600s to the 1800s, we enter the area called, like, the Enlightenment in the West. So prior to the Enlightenment, yes, men and women were both using makeup. They were doing white face powders, cheek colors, lip colors, elaborate wigs even, lots of fragrance. But the Enlightenment ushered in this new view of makeup where you went from having, for example, like, you know, men who were members of the court of Louis XIV in France, like, painting on beauty marks and going, like, full glam. All of a sudden, you had this kind of thing, like, waning in popularity. And it's really sad because there were a lot of cool fashion trends that were happening up until then. Like, do you know about the macaroni?
Macaroni?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So before the Enlightenment kind of hit, you had this English youth. I mean, this was kind of during the Enlightenment period, too. It was kind of like a counterculture thing. They were English youth known as the macaroni. So they would go to, like, France and Italy, and they would bring all of this fashion back to England. And all the fashion was, like, tight clothes, wigs, tons of makeup.
Love.
So they wore stark white face makeup, and they wore rouge on their lips, right? They wore blush, and they also had these sticker-like velvet patches that they made to hide pockmarks, and they were in the shapes of moon, stars, and hearts.
Yes, I know about this.
It's so cool, and it reminds me of the Starface pimple patches.
Yes, Starface, honestly, I feel like was inspired by macaroni people.
I think so, too. The macaroni people, yes. So this was all kind of happening at the time, but then the Enlightenment hits, and this gets less fashionable to do. Science, reason, and politics are evolving. That's what the Enlightenment is. We're enlightened people now. We're learning things. And men decided that they learned that anything frivolous, like makeup, was lady stuff. This is what the men learned, yeah. So historians actually refer to this point as the Great Male Renunciation. And this is the moment. This
is where men were like, duh.
Yeah, exactly. They were like, we cannot waste our time with beauty, which is just wild, right? They should have. And in the U.S., this, like, had some shifting stuff happen here, too. Like, there was William Henry Harrison, who unseated the president at the time, Martin Van Buren, because he presented himself as this manly alternative to the New York governor, right? Van Buren, who kept makeup in the Oval Office. He was like, I would never deign to wear makeup or keep it in the Oval Office. And in England, it started to come about that men could be sentenced to hard labor or even imprisonment for wearing powder or dresses.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a huge shift in, like, sentiment.
That's so annoying. Such a bummer.
It is a bummer. And it affected women too, obviously, because we went back to that kind of puritanical way of thinking, right?
Yes.
Well, this is when the Puritans really took off.
This is where no makeup came back again.
Yeah. So this Puritan clergyman in 1657 named Thomas Tuke condemned women's use of cosmetics and said a painted face is a false face.
Wow.
Yeah, and Queen Victoria at the time had the backing of the church when she went out and she said, makeup is unladylike and vulgar.
There's just, like, people hating all over the place.
Yeah, they're just real haters. This is true. And this created such a backlash against wearing makeup, and it's arguably still seen a little bit in the world today. So, lots of women didn't give up makeup entirely, right? They just did what you were talking about earlier. They just put it on in secret.
Yeah.
So, they would do, like, really subtle things, because they're like, well, maybe my cheeks just naturally are rosy.
Yes.
You don't know.
Totally.
You don't know. And
well, that's, like, Benetint. Remember?
Oh, yes.
Benefit's, like, first product was made to... It was for sex workers to make their nipples more, like, rosy.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Don't, like... I don't know. Don't cancel me for that. But I think that, like, it was definitely meant to, like, make your nipples more red. And then it was, like, moved on to, like, making your lips... And they still sell it to this day. In different colors now, too, which is cool.
Wow. Yeah, like, the women who weren't doing this kind of secret stuff, they would just do other shit that was arguably worse. Like, they would pinch their cheeks really hard till their cheeks turned red, or they would, like, bite their lips a bunch to make them look red. And I feel like there was a part in Little Women, the book. Did you ever read that book?
I did, but it was, like, I was so tiny.
I know, I was so little, too. But I remember a part where, like, one of the little girls has a crush on a boy, and then they pinch their cheeks a whole bunch. Yeah. And she's like, it hurts so bad.
I definitely remember that being a thing when I was, like, you know, a kid. We'd be like, hee hee hee, let's make our cheeks really rosy.
Yeah, I never did that. That
now
seems
I'm like,
very violent.
don't touch my cheeks.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. And it's like the same end result as wearing makeup.
Yes.
So who cares? You're still changing your appearance in some way. So, ugh.
People are just afraid, you know?
Yeah, they are afraid. So some women were not afraid, and they were like, fuck that, I'm still going to wear my makeup. But they were really looked down on, again, as being lower class or trashy. They were sex workers or people who were lumped in with being sex workers who weren't treated super well at the time. And Victorian sex workers during this time were actually referred to as painted women. Wow. Because they wore makeup. Yeah. So this kind of gets us to the 1900s. And Hollywood becomes a thing in the early 1900s.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And the look of the Hollywood movie star is what actually began encouraging women to wear makeup again.
Ugh, I mean, it was so iconic. This is, like, one of my favorite eras, honestly.
Yeah, and this caused the beauty industry to flourish, and makeup began to be sold to the masses. And we're gonna, from this point on, now that we're in the 1900s, we're gonna do kind of like a recap of trends by decade, which I think will be fun.
Yeah.
But I think the really interesting thing that I got from this is that, like, makeup was really a pendulum swing between, like, heavy emphasis on skincare products and a clean face versus more traditional makeup emphasis. So it's like you're wearing a lot of makeup and going hard, and then there's, like, a backlash against that. So you're wearing nothing. You're a skincare girly,
which has proven itself over time.
Right.
Too.
And it just goes back and forth, and we do it today, too. Yeah. So,
I think it even happens with my personal job. Like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, it was very, like, no makeup only, and, like, natural, da-da-da. And then there was a huge swing of, like, no, snatch them. Like, you know,
and then
beat the face.
Now it's, like, clean girl.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I still get a lot of, like, you know, heavy beats every now and then. But I think also, like, I'm on a lot of ad jobs, and, like, on an ad job, it's very, like, you know, this person has to be this character, and this person has to be this character. But yeah, I mean, the fun stuff is when you get to be, like, you know, let your voice, like, sing.
Be more creative with it. Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to get into now the Western makeup trends by decades, right? This brings us up to the 1900s, kind of recent history. And I have some examples of, like, how I think that the makeup trends have gone from year to year. But Kennedy, you should let me know if I got anything wrong or what you think. Or
you can skip the 80s. I didn't really love the 80s.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the 80s.
Oh, it was just so, like, corny to me. Okay. I'm being a hater. But
okay. You are being a hater.
I am.
You think all the women in the 80s were Jezebels.
No, they weren't Jezebels. I just was like, wow, the color combinations were just, like, not my palette.
Yeah, but I think the thing about, like, what looks like it's in fashion to all of us changes throughout time so much. So this is why I always tell people, like, anybody who's like, I'm never going to wear that. It's like, you will. You will. So, like, Fernanda is always like, I'm never wearing skinny jeans. And I was like, Fern, you will wear skinny jeans. You will wear skinny jeans. Yeah. It's going to happen. So I feel like, yeah, it doesn't look right to us now. But, like, at the time, it probably looked exactly like what people needed. Just like how avocado green and mustard yellow were, like, the colors of the 70s.
Yeah.
You know?
there's, like, I don't know why. that generation of maybe it's because I was born in the 80s.
Yeah, it doesn't speak to you.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like, next.
Interesting.
The 90s is where I was like, yeah. Okay, wait,
Okay,
sorry.
so we're going to start with the 1920s.
Okay.
Because this is when, like, movies really started to pick up speed, and you could see people on screen, and they were black and white, obviously, so the makeup was really dramatic to, like,
Did you know that the best way to show, like, a red lip in black and white is to use blue lipstick?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Little fun fact.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, okay, what were, like, the makeup trends of the 1920s, then, based on this?
Well, I mean, I feel like the 20s, it was, like, definitely a red lip.
Yeah,
to show
definitely.
Contrast. Because
Dark.
you're doing, lots of skinny brows.
Very skinny brows,
Yeah,
yes.
and and it's not just skinny brow, like, a natural shape. It was, like, very a-natural shapes. Like a
rounded.
a big arch.
Yes.
Or, like, very flat, like, thin brow.
Oh, that one, yeah, that's almost, like, curved up on the inside. Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it shows,
I like that one.
it provokes, like, emotion because you can't quite see emotion as well within contrast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and also because they were silent films.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
For a long time. So in the silent film era, everything was painted on and really dramatic.
Yeah.
It was more clownish, the makeup.
Yeah.
It was very cool, though.
Clown brows. Woo!
And, okay, this is something I thought of. Like, the upper lip, the little bow, it was, like, really pointed.
The Cupid's bow. Yeah, it was definitely more pointed. They had, like, more of a pouty shape, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A tiny little...
Little,
yeah. Yeah, exactly.
God, you're so annoying.
Okay, so then by the 30s, makeup evolved a little. And what I
Wait,
noticed...
when was the Depression?
The Depression was from the 1920s through the 1930s.
Okay, so...
I'm going to look up the years so you can hear me typing.
I do know that the Depression, there was a huge swing of not wearing as much makeup because people couldn't afford it.
Yes.
But I do know that lipstick sales still, like, went off during the Depression.
Oh, okay, so this was 1929 to 1939 were the exact years, yeah. So that makes sense because there was less visible makeup, unlike the makeup trends at the time, like less eye makeup, for example, but you would still have pretty thin eyebrows, just maybe a slightly more natural shape, and you would probably have pretty heavy foundation.
Yes.
But you wouldn't do, like, a strong eye.
Yeah, I think that adds up, yes. I honestly think, like, too, maybe, like, mascara wasn't as big of a thing.
Yeah.
It's, like, more, it definitely gave more natural.
It was a little more natural, yeah. And then by the 1940s, we were back to, like, red lipstick was everything.
Yes.
If you leave the house without red lipstick, you might as well die.
Well, 1940s was, like, prohibition and flappers and stuff, right?
No, that was the 20s.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
oh,
1940s was, like, when World War II happened. So it was very, like, ladies, go to the factories, and everything's rationed, and, like, Rosie the Riveter.
I was going to say Rosie the Riveter,
yes. And I know that during this time, because nylon was rationed because it was being used to make parachutes.
Whoa.
So for women's tights.
Pantyhose, yeah.
Yeah, for pantyhose, women couldn't get pantyhose as easily. So sometimes to make it look like they were still wearing pantyhose, old school pantyhose had a seam up the back. So women would buy black eyeliner and draw it on the backs of their legs.
Cool.
So you would go to your friend's house and you draw the seam down the back of her legs.
Where was the tattooer when you needed one?
Oh, that's what you really needed. This is the era, though, when permanent makeup tattooing started to get popular again, too, but not like that.
Yes.
Okay.
It was like little tints and stuff? Or
I'll talk about it in a second. It's
oh,
really
God,
interesting
I
now.
love that. I'm
okay,
waiting
we'll
for
get there.
this
We'll get
topic.
there. Okay. So, 1940s, red lipstick, Rosie the Riveter, drawing the lines down the back of your legs, right? Then we get to 1950s. The war is over. We're in a period of abundance. It's all glamour.
Glam.
Winged eyeliner.
Yes.
This is where this comes. Full brow. Normal brow. You've got eyebrows.
You glue your brows back.
You've got some eyebrows. You're doing beauty marks.
Yes.
You know? Yeah.
Blush.
Still blush. You got a bold lip. Definitely 1950s. Then the 1960s is like a reaction against that.
I think in the 50s is when frost makeup happened for the first time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So the 1960s was more like nude lip, but a graphic eyeliner and like maybe fake eyelashes. The London look was the 1960s.
Yeah.
So it was more like
Twiggy. And stuff.
Yeah, like op art, arty.
But it's also, that's cool because like that era was really about like individuality and like discovering yourself, and it's like those are individual characters that were created. It's almost like the beginning of like Club Kids, you know what I mean?
It really is. And then there was also like Goldie Hawn and Laugh-In, I think was the show. There's like the iconic thing where she just has all the stuff painted on her body, so it's like body paint.
Yeah.
It wasn't just your face.
Yeah,
you know?
people were using that as like a political expression.
Yes, it
And
really
it was like, cool, let's like paint shit on our bodies to tell the government to fuck off.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. So then we get to the 1970s, and from here we're going a little, it kind of splits. Like two things are happening. Like, mainstream culture is going more natural. They're doing lip gloss and bronzer and maybe a shimmery eyeshadow. Like, you've just been on the beach, like, for a week and you're sun-kissed. But also what's happening during this time is glam rock and punk rock.
Also disco, no?
Yeah, well, disco was more of the glammy, lip gloss, glittery, shimmery, right?
Shimmery,
bronzy.
Yeah.
But then glam and punk were, you know, obviously more queer, more gender non-conforming expressions. And makeup was like a tool of that.
Again, the characters.
The characters. So you think about like David Bowie, right? With like the lightning bolt on his face. That's pretty wild. Or it could be like
Grace
Lou
Jones.
Reed. Yeah, Grace Jones.
Yeah.
Lou Reed wearing black lipstick and black eyeliner.
Yeah.
And then you have like more...
and like, ugh.
Yes, and the more punk side in the 70s, you would have, you know, like punk rockers wearing black eyeliner and stuff. Because a huge part of punk rock, especially in LA during the late 70s and early 80s, was reacting against homophobia. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the kids who were weird were, you know, hate crimed for being gay. So a lot of like punk culture was to like embrace that and be like, yes, are you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
You know?
Also, now we look really mean. So are you scared of us?
Yes, we look mean and gay, and we will kill you. Oh yeah,
come for us.
Yes. Yeah, that's totally a thing. And then we get to the 1980s, your least favorite time, and it was very like bold makeup, bright eyeshadow, like weird colors. But this is when those club kid looks started to get really popular, like the Boy George club kid kind of makeup, and also goth shit started to go off. Like
okay,
Robert
the goth era in the 80s, I will give them that.
Yes, a lot of black eyeliner, lots of black lipstick, lots of face paint, you know.
Hair really went off.
Hair got huge. Love that.
Yes.
We love big hair. And then by the 1990s, it's more, I think, kind of like what I would say the trends are replicating now. More brown tones, frosted lips, blue-gray eyeshadow, skinny brows, lip gloss glitter.
Lots of, like, powdery, like, anything. Powdery. Like, it's almost when, like, flashback became a thing.
What's flashback?
Like, on red carpets, if, like, you see people getting their photo taken and, like, there's a huge portion of the face that's, like, reflecting the flash.
Yes.
That's called flashback.
Okay.
So it's when somebody's, like, over-powdered with a product that has, like, silica in it.
Okay.
So it's, like, reflective.
Got it.
It's a bad thing.
It's bad, yeah, because it's messing them up. Yeah.
But I think in that era, it was, like, very popular to be, like, matte.
Yes.
Like, as matte as possible. You wanted to be, like, porcelain.
Yeah,
Not in color, but in texture.
Right.
So it's, like... Yeah, flashback became a thing, I think, in the 90s.
Interesting.
Yeah, in the 80s, you were, like, frosty and, like, colorful.
Right.
You know? And then the 90s, you were, like...
neutral tones.
Yes.
And just flat.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that
love it.
totally makes sense. I like that, too, a lot.
Lots of, like, contour. I think that's, like, when contour was, like, something that people didn't really talk about, but it was happening.
Interesting.
Yeah, because you were doing, like, gray contour in the eyes and, like, little subtle, you know, accents.
And it was very, like, bone structure in the 90s because everyone was obsessed with being as skinny as possible.
Yes,
So then it was just like, look at my cheekbones, look at my bones.
Look at how malnourished I am.
I'm a malnourished bone. Yeah, that was the way to be hot in the 90s. I am a bone, I do not eat. Okay, so then that gets us to the 2000s, and this is really when I started wearing makeup. So I have an affinity for this, and
what was your, like, first makeup look?
I got you. You're going to know because you're a MAC counter girly. So, all right, here's what I did. I did full strong foundation, concealer, powder.
Studio Fix powder.
I mean, I didn't get these from MAC because I couldn't afford it.
CoverGirl.
So these were, yes, very Wet n Wild. Let's be real.
Yes.
I know, yeah. So that. Then I would get, like, I would steal whatever black liquid eyeliner I could find.
We do what we can.
Yeah. And then I would do a wing. And then I would get the black pencil, like the kohl pencil, you know, and then I would line the waterline. The waterline is black underneath. So then I got the wing with that, and then I would do glitter on my eyelids above the wing up to sometimes the brow, and it would be blue glitter, and then I would go over and under the glitter with a gradient color effect. So it would be bright yellow in the inner eye, and then it would go out into like a lime green, then a darker green, then end on a blue at the ends.
Wow.
Yes, and then I did no blush, and then I would wear, this is where the MAC came in. This was my splurge, was a MAC lip gloss in see-through.
Oh, I loved see-through. It still exists.
Yeah.
I should get you some, honestly. See-through
that'd be
still
so cool.
hits.
Yeah.
It still does.
So that was my, like, look. And if I didn't do all the colors, I at least did one color with glitter, but when I was like really vibing myself, it was the gradient, the yellow to the blue with the greens in the middle.
Love.
And there was this one yellow MAC made that was so hard to find. They discontinued it almost everywhere.
Yellow.
And my best friend went to the MAC store in New York where they still had it and brought it back for me like a gift.
Yeah,
it's a bright yellow. Yeah. So it was very much like I had my little my 4 MAC eyeshadows, and then I had my MAC see-through lip gloss, and these were my treasures, my babies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Did you have a caboodle?
No, I did not have a caboodle. No, I had an old grimy bag I got with my employee discount from Hot Topic in the mall, and everyone just lived in. It just all got thrown in there. What was your go-to makeup look?
Definitely a smoky eye. I mean, I feel like I'm from the Inland Empire, which, if those of you who don't know that are listening don't know, it is Southern California's crown jewel.
I think so. It's like if Fresno is the Florida of California, the Inland Empire is the New Jersey.
Yes. Oh my gosh, right? That is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think that's where the smoky eye was born.
Yeah.
Honestly, all of the brohos and the frankenflops and the streaked hair. It's like Christina Aguilera was like our god.
Yes. Yeah. The broho thing really was the aesthetic of the eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see that.
But I think my first look, I want to say my first eyeshadow was a MAC eyeshadow called Black Tide.
Oh.
And it's a black shadow with silver glitter in it.
You know what? I had friends who had this one.
Yeah,
I remember this eyeshadow.
I also used see-through, but what I really loved was Myth. It was like a matte, like foundation colored, like.
Perfect.
Yeah, it was a vibe. And then my foundation was always like a little bit too light for me because
mine too.
I honored the goth.
Yeah.
But all the girlies in my hometown were very tan.
Yeah, the see-through lip gloss, I remember one of my friends tried to put it on as concealer once accidentally.
Oh, no.
And then I was like, no, it just is the color of my skin.
Wait, was see-through one of the lip plumping ones or no?
No.
Okay.
It was just like
that would have hurt.
Almost clear, but vaguely like if you're pale, it's your skin color.
Yeah,
so it just was
like
weird.
this goes here.
Yes.
Love that.
Yeah, so that was the 2000s. Those were our glory years, I'll say.
Oh, for sure.
And then we get to the 2010s when we met. Right? We met probably somewhere between maybe 2009 to 2012. We met in there. Yeah. So this is when we met. And this, when I think of the 2010s makeup look, the first thing that comes to mind is the 2014 brow.
What was the 2014 brow?
That really aggressive, like, dip brow.
Oh, that was called... I want to say that the Inland Empire MAC counter started that.
Really?
Yes, because it was all, like, primarily, like, Hispanic, like, Latinos, cholas, like...
Yeah.
It was very, we called it the dip-down brow.
Yes.
And it was MAC's gel liner in a pot, and it was called dip down. The brown color was called dip down. So we would take the tiniest, thinnest angled brush, and we'd go in, and it honestly was like an ombre type brow, which honestly happens now, still to this day. And a couple of brands have started making products that are that, essentially, but for brows now, so.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that being a thing. So this was like the really drawn-on brow, like you're saying. Sometimes there was a gradient where it got lighter towards your nose.
Yes.
And heavier at the ends.
Yes.
And it was a very defined angle.
This was before overlining lips was a thing, too.
It was.
Think about that. Because I remember I did my makeup with, I wore red lip a lot, and I would do it very meticulously lined to my exact lip shape.
Yeah.
And I'll go back on pictures and be like, oh wow, that was like, a trend.
Yeah, it totally was. But it does make sense that, like, we appropriated the brow from, like, chola culture.
Yes, 100%.
Because so much of makeup is appropriated from black women and cholas.
Like all cultures that aren't white.
Yeah, we steal all the makeup trends.
Yes.
Yeah. So that does make sense that it would have come from the IE, where it's predominantly, like, Latina, chola fashion trends.
Which also is like the whole free education for labor situation. It's so nice that I learned there because I didn't just learn how to do makeup on white people.
That's totally true.
Which,
that's a thing.
so grateful. Yeah.
Very interesting. So so we had that. I feel like this was also the era of the matte lips.
Oh, yeah.
The bold matte
It's
lip.
like the long wear lip came out.
God, what was the name? Like the
Which one?
It was like there was like a word for it. It was like a
Prolonged.
liquid lip line.
Oh, yeah, liquid lip.
Liquid lip. That's what yeah. So you do your super defined brow, you do the gnarly liquid lip, and then maybe like purple tones were kind of popular during this time. I remember a lot of people had like a purple liquid lip that like dried super matte.
Oh yeah,
and
I had
like,
a purple.
stayed in place.
I also think this was like an era of at the MAC counter, there was like this program called Viva Glam.
Yes.
And it's like all proceeds went to AIDS charity. And I think at that point in time, there was like a bright pink.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like fuchsia.
Yes. So definitely, that's what I think of with the 2010s. Just all eyebrow, everything very eyebrow focused. And I remember when it happened, I was like, I don't know how to do anything with my eyebrows. I'm really out of my depths here. I can never look cool again because I can't eyebrow. And there were people being like, your eyebrows are sisters, not twins. And I'm like, this isn't
I've said that to
helping me.
people. God, guilty.
It was very, very hard. But I always loved a liquid lip, like a matte lip.
You still love a liquid lip.
I still do it. I still wear it. I'll still do it. Just because ADHD, I forget that I'm wearing makeup and then I touch my face a whole bunch and then I eat greasy foods and I want something that's not gonna move, and that's
also you be kissing.
I be kissing. I kiss a lot of people. Yeah, so I like it. And then the 2020s, obviously, the return of lip gloss. Right, we're back to the 2000s lip gloss.
I cannot live without a lip gloss.
The skin is dewier. It's not as matte as it was in the 2010s.
I actually would say that it splits.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think that some people are like super down. We're talking about the 2020s?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So some people super down for a dewy look.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like, oh, less on the skin, but go hard on the lip, hard on the eye.
Yeah.
Kind of punk almost.
Yeah, it is.
And then there'll be the baddies who are like, I never want to see a piece of shine anywhere on my face.
Matte me down.
Yeah, matte, like throw powder on me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I also think that the brows got more natural.
No, because then you have
Thin.
the Gabriettes.
Oh,
skinny
like
brows.
The skinny brows,
Skinny
the
brows
bleaching.
hit so hard. And then I really think this is like a big moment with like creative freedom in makeup. And honestly, that might speak about, femininity and like where we're at with that. But I think that, and I mean like gender, expression and also like people loving gay people finally.
Yeah, you know what? This actually too reflects something I've seen in fashion. It's like almost like there are so many trends, there are no trends.
Yes.
You can be so many aesthetics that like everything kind of makes sense. So that makes
Totally.
sense that makeup would be the same way in the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
So okay, just for fun, what do you think your favorite makeup trends are right now, 2023, end of 2023, going into 2024?
Oh man, my favorite makeup trends. I would say I just did this story that I guess I can't really talk about, but I'm like really down with like dark brown and red lips.
Yes.
Like I have a feeling that's going to be like a really big thing. Like almost you can't tell if it's black.
Yeah,
Like it's like there's a hint of something that you're like, what color is that?
Interesting.
Love that.
I think that'll be cool. I love a brown lip. That's my favorite.
I also love, I forgot to mention, in the, in this time of makeup and its creative freedom and expression, we did do that whole wave. Like, I feel like we're pretty much responsible for that whole, like, sci-fi baddie wave of people wearing, like, elf ears and being, like, because we did that thing with Alexa, and then it just was, like, a huge...
Yeah, no, you did. You did a bunch of, like, you did an elf core movement.
Yeah,
and you kind of helped start it.
We also did, like, the mermaid, and the, like, everybody just sort of, like, went off with being, like, slutty elf, which I was like, you know what? Hell yeah.
Slutty elf. That's the move. No, that's totally true. Because you're talking about the book you worked on, Fairy Tales, with Petra Collins and Alexa Demi.
Yeah. Which was honestly so funny because we were just...
And you worked on that for years before it came out.
Yeah, we did it during COVID. We all quarantined together and took 13 days unpaid, like just as a creative form of like, expression and labor of love, let's call it. And I think Petra and I were talking and it was like, should we make like Alexa into a slutty elf? And then Alexa was like, yeah. And then we did one shoot and the internet like broke. And
so
I
remember that.
We continued with like different lore and making those lore creatures into baddies.
Yes, baddie lore.
Baddie lore I think was a movement I was proud of.
Yes. There's also obviously when it comes to like makeup trends, it's super subjective and it's based on your geographic location. So even, beauty trends will change from era to era. They'll also change from place to place. And what we find beautiful is really subjective. It's relative, right? So
totally.
I just wanted to take a second to say we're not going to do like a cross-cultural assessment of beauty trends, but we know cross-cultural research has demonstrated worldwide variations in what's considered physically appealing from place to place. So we know that what we think looks good on people is based on socialization, not evolution. So I'm always really wary when people are like, yes, you like the red lip because biologically it looks like labia. You're just like, okay, what? Really? This is creepy and weird. There's not some biological imperative in my head that makes someone's face want to look like labia. Like, no.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah, right? So people say this shit. So we know actually that beauty is so relative that we know that it's socialized, not evolutionary or anything like that. And we do have a whole episode about beauty trends in general that dives into this more. So if you want to listen to it, it's episode 42. It's called Who's Hot, Who's Not. We're not going to get into it in this episode, but I did think it was important to mention that beauty in general is pretty subjective. So everything we're talking about is like in the West where we grew up, what we're experiencing. So the other thing I wanted to talk about when it came to makeup trends is just a little aside about permanent makeup, which is just tattoos.
Ooh,
it's just tattoos. So I thought this came around in the 1990s, but it turns out that's just when my mom got it. So my mom got tattooed
honestly.
eyeliner and lip liner. Yeah. I remember when she did it. My boyfriend's mom has tattooed eyebrows.
Really?
Yes. They're like gone and it's just tattooed.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's a vibe.
It is a vibe, yes.
Does she shave them or she just doesn't have hair there anymore?
I think she told me she did it because she doesn't like grow eyebrows.
She like overplucked and
she probably overplucked.
Like, her,
yeah.
hair follicles or something.
Yeah, I could see that. So she was just like, I got tired of drawing on my eyebrows every day, so I just did this.
Vibes.
Yeah. It's very cool. So I thought this started in the 1990s, but no, it got popular again in the 1890s, but it actually started in the 1900s. And before that, the guy who kind of is widely thought of in the West as coming up with tattooed permanent makeup is a tattoo artist named Sutherland MacDonald, who started tattooing in Britain in the 1800s, the late 1800s. So by 1902, this is the guy who first documented maybe permanent makeup treatment in the West. And he said that he could give you an all year round delicate pink complexion on the cheeks.
Oh, so he did blush first. Yeah, that's what I thought.
So tattooing blush, which is wild because I'm like, this is why I always say bimbos are like so much stronger than the average person, because anytime I have tried to do anything remotely body mod that I'm just like, yeah, I see bimbos do this all the time. It's really popular. Lots of people are doing it. How painful could it be? It is always the most painful shit I've ever done in my body.
Wait, like what?
So I got, my most painful tattoo I ever got is on my hip bone. And I was like, that's where like girls get Playboy bunnies. How hard can it be? Literally fucking almost took me out. I'm covered in tattoos and I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna fucking die. And to this day, I fucked it up so bad that it needs to be gone over and redone. And I'm just like dreading it. I'm like, what if it just stays like that forever? It is the most fucked up looking tattoo. My body literally was like rejecting it. Like it was like,
my God.
Vibrating. My muscles were spasming. It was horrible.
Well, I mean, like, look at boob jobs.
Boob job. So fucking hard. My mom got a boob job and I remember it took her out for weeks.
You took care of me while I got a boob job.
Yes.
Full disclosure, I have a boob job.
Yes,
but...
and it is, and you were like, I didn't think it would be this painful. And I'm like, it's a fucking literal invasive surgery. They cut your chest open.
I remember the reveal.
Crazy.
I remember the reveal. I was like, what do you think? And you were just like, they look great.
It was terrifying. It's a major surgery. I mean, they look great now. They look great. The titties look titty. It's great. But no, these things are like really intense. So when I think about this, I'm like, damn, these like original baddies were just like, yeah, I have no tattoos. Tattoo my face. Let's go. Like tattoo my cheeks, the bone, the vibrating. Can you imagine?
Oh no.
I
but
have
that's
no
funny,
face
like
tattoos.
face tattoos were like the OG like permanent tattoo.
Yes. And this is when my mom got her fucking eyelids tattooed. My mom did have another tattoo before this. Full disclosure, she had a little Eye of Horus on her back.
She would.
And yes, it's a cute tattoo. And she got her eyes and lips done. And I am like, again, I have a lot of tattoos now. I cannot imagine tattooing my fucking eyelid. It must be so painful.
I also feel like the thing about permanent tattoos that like people don't think about, it's like, okay, you look at old sailor tattoos, right? And they've like, you think they were black, right? When they were first done, but they're green or blue, or like sometimes they even like lean toward like red, like weird red stuff. But it's because like the pigments in the tattoo, well, your body like technically like what is it, like it absorbs the ink like over time, so like that and sun damage like makes the color of the ink its original like base tone. So everybody who's getting permanent makeup on their face, I'm like, dude, their eyebrows are green now. Right,
it's gonna change over time,
which a vibe. But I'm also like, I don't know if Mrs. Cerny wants, you know, a green brow.
Right. Well, her eyebrows are still brown now.
Okay, yeah.
So
but also touch-ups are a thing, yes.
Touch-ups are a thing, for sure. But yeah, no, this is, like, really wild. I personally have a lot of feelings about permanent makeup. I think it's cool and interesting, but the feelings I have about it are the same feelings that a guy told me once at a party about why he had no tattoos in general, because he said it was like picking out a shirt you had to wear every single day for the rest of your life, and you just couldn't commit to that.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel, because makeup trends change so quickly. I would not want to imagine if I got the dip brow eyebrow tattooed on me.
Yeah, I mean,
And then,
no
10
shade.
years later, I want a skinny brow because that sounds fun. And it's like, well, you just roped yourself into a corner, and now you can't do the skinny brow because it sounds fun. You have this one eyebrow forever. I mean, I brought up the dip brow one because it's a bigger eyebrow.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, it'd be easier to get a skinny brow tattooed on you because you could grow your eyebrows
there's
over
so
it.
many people that I work with that have, like, microblading is another
Yes,
permanent form of
microblading.
makeup. But it's like, no shade. I want people to do exactly what they want to do, and I respect that and love that. But, like, sometimes I'll work with a girl and I'm like, oh, we're doing an editorial. I wish we could bleach your brows and make her... For those of you that don't know, is an editorial is something that just, like, showcases your work. It could be a publication that's, like, Vogue or Dazed or ID or whatever. And those are things we don't get paid for. That's something we just sort of do to be like, look at this creative, cool makeup. But
to have fun, to get something for your portfolio, maybe that a client wouldn't request.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I feel like for that, you want to be able to, like, be free, and I'll want to bleach someone's brows or, like, you know, put a certain lip on them. But if they have permanent makeup, it's, like, kind of impossible.
Right. I think the main thing about it is that it does rope you into a specific makeup look kind of
Same
forever.
t-shirt every day.
Same t-shirt every single day. So it allows you less opportunity to play or change your mind about things. If you're the kind of person, though, who's like, I can't be bothered, I don't care, I just want it to look kind of okay like this.
Yeah.
I could see this being something that's interesting to you. Yeah. So...
Yeah, for all the moms out there,
yeah,
great idea.
You're just like, I'm done. I don't have to worry about it.
Smart.
Right.
Honestly, I should suggest this for my mom.
Oh, yeah.
She'd probably be down.
Yeah, so in the 1920s, this guy's technique of the pink tattoos on your cheeks to be blush, this arrived in the U.S., and it was known as electrically tattooing a permanent complexion or blush on the face. That's how they described it at the time. This was the technique, and this tattoo artist named George Burchett played a huge role in developing this technique here in the United States. And by the 1930s, it got really, really fashionable. It got so fashionable, in fact, that people started getting it done without even realizing they had been tattooed. So these places would pop up and they'd be like, we're going to give you a complexion treatment. We're going to inject vegetable dyes under the top layer of your skin. And they didn't realize that was tattooing. It's like you're getting your face tattooed. So they would just do this, and then later people would be like, so you got a tattoo? And they'd be like, no, what?
Oh my God.
Yeah, I had a vegetable dye injected under the top layer of my skin. Yeah. So I also thought about all of this leading up to, like, now, the 1990s, obviously, huge resurgence in permanent makeup. Then it died a little in popularity, I think. But then, yeah, the microblading the eyebrows really brought it back.
Microblading is, like, such a thing.
I have a friend who got her eyebrows microbladed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Does it look good?
Yeah, they look good. I couldn't tell the difference between how she had been drawing them every day versus getting them tattooed.
No, I think for people like, like your partner's mom, it's one of those things where it's probably really helpful and it probably makes her feel great.
Yes.
And that's literally all that matters.
That's all that matters. But it is just one of those things because maybe I am fickle. I'm fickle when it comes to fashion. I want flexibility.
Yeah, you like to be different characters.
I want to be different characters sometimes, yes. So that was just a little interesting aside in the makeup world. But the next thing I thought we could talk about is just the idea of what is attractive. Like the science of, like, makeup and how it links to our ideas of beauty and what looks good. And this is the stuff I always nerd out on. So despite, like, we kind of see this shift now where lots of different people are interested in makeup again, like, I feel like it's not a strictly gendered thing anymore. I do think, though, most of the way we think about women is tied to, like, makeup. Mm-hmm. You know, like, we think about women, we think about them wearing makeup. We think about makeup, we associate it as, like, a women's thing. Yeah. Even though it's not 100% strictly true anymore, and it's getting better, and things are opening up, and women have more flexibility to not wear makeup if they want, and men and non-binary or gender non-conforming people have the flexibility to wear makeup, blah, 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 blah. I think the way we tend to think about it is as a thing that women have to do to make themselves look more socially considered attractive. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's built up in a lot of patriarchal history and a lot of ideas of control and a lot of ideas about, like, what femininity is. And I think this is really, really interesting because makeup is, often thought of a thing that women are supposed to wear to appeal to men.
Right.
So that, when you're assessing it from that perspective, you're like, all right, so it's supposed to make you hotter to men according to the patriarchy. That's how men think of makeup. They're not on board with I drew an upside down cross on my face and there's a pentagram under every eye and I'm just, like, here to freak you out, man. Men are like, it's supposed to make the lady pretty, right?
They're like, red lip.
Yeah, red lip. Yeah, exactly. And there is some science about makeup make lady pretty to man that I just really wanted to go over that I thought was interesting.
Go.
Okay, so despite cultural variations, a few physical characteristics are generally considered to be somewhat universal markers of beauty. And they often are talked about for creepy eugenics-y sounding reasons. But whatever the case, there are some common things people across cultural boundaries and time periods seem to have responded well to the most. So I have some of those that we're going to talk about the science of. The first one is contouring.
Okay.
Yes. So there has been scientific evidence that makeup makes women look more attractive by increasing sexual dimorphic factors like facial contrast. So this would be when you're defining the luminance and color between facial features like your eyes, your mouth, your nose, and eyebrows. And when you contour and deepen the depths of like your cheekbones, for example, or other surface areas, this has been scientifically proven to make your face look more attractive to men.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you were a lady doing this.
Well, I think it's like it adds symmetry too.
Right. And so,
isn't it something about genetics? Like, people prefer more symmetrical face because the child will survive or some
exactly.
shit.
Yeah, it's all creepy eugenic stuff. That's what I mean, where all of this is like weird eugenic stuff.
Anti-contour.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I love that. Make your face look asymmetrical and strange. Oh, that'd be so fun,
Some
honestly.
people kind of do stuff like that now. Like, Ismaya French did a, like, squiggly nose contour.
Oh, that's
to make your nose look broken.
Oh, okay, that's really interesting. I like that. But yeah, there is something to be said about the idea of contouring, which I think is funny because I think a lot of men would not even realize that they were looking at a contoured face if they themselves do not have a lot of experience applying makeup.
Right.
So the second thing is red lipstick.
Oh my god, see?
Yes. So, according to multiple studies, women with red lips are, in fact, yes, perceived as more attractive by men. So, a recent field experiment...
I'm going to say, guilty confession hour, we're in a safe space. I don't love a red lip.
Wow.
Dark red, like ox blood or something like that, sure.
But
like,
a bright red is not for you.
Honestly, she can go.
I like a red lip when I have blonde or black hair. But when I have a colored hair, there's no way I can wear a red lip.
You don't want to go like monochromatic.
No, I have red hair right now. I'm not going to be a tomato. No. But this recent field experiment showed that red lipstick influenced how quickly men approached women at a bar.
Wow. We should do this when you're doing the reel it in. Night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We should all wear red lips.
That'd be so fun. In the study, women in red lipstick were, yes, approached sooner than those who wore no lipstick, a shade of brown, or pink.
Okay.
But pink came in second.
Okay, what about nude?
Yeah, no. If it looks like you're not wearing lipstick, you're on the last list.
Okay.
So
I'm down.
The order is red lips most, then pink, then brown tones, and then none.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to make sure men are repulsed by you. No lipstick is the way to go.
Okay.
All right. So then also on top of this, there was a study from Zoosk, which is an online dating site, and they found that women who wear some sort of lip color in their photos on this dating app are 119% more likely to get first messages than those who don't. And men are 38% more likely to want to meet a woman if she is wearing lipstick in her online dating photo based on what they say. And this is important because we're going to get into the difference between what men say they like and what they actually like. So science shows if you take a man and you're like, look at this woman's dating profile, she's wearing lipstick, they'll be like 38% more likely to be like, yeah, looks good. But their actions of sending the first message suggest it's actually 119% more
wow.
likely. Yeah, so
they don't want to admit.
They don't want to admit how easy it is to fool them. If you want to fool a man, I always say this, men are the easiest people to catfish. It's not hard to do.
Wow.
You just perform all the stupid things. You dye your hair blonde. You put on the red lipstick.
Cosplay bimbo man is like...
Yes, exactly. It's a series of tasks you can perform. Okay, so the third is foundation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In one study, foundation was concluded to be the product most capable of making a difference to men in what women they found attractive. And they would judge women who were wearing different levels of cosmetic use, right? From none at all to complete full makeup. And the one thing that, if it was present, always made a man think a woman was more attractive was foundation.
Wow.
Yes, very interesting. And they think there's a creepy eugenics reason for that too, which I don't know how accurate this is, but they're like, well, when your skin looks even, it looks like you're not sick. Which is really ableist and weird. They think sick people are just like
ugly. I feel like sick is kind of hot.
I mean, yeah, but we grew up into like goth and emo shit.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
true. That's true.
We're just like, oh yeah, I want to look like I'm dying. That's the goal. Yeah. Okay, so and also, obviously, we know that people who are ill, chronically ill or disabled are very hot and capable of being sexy. This is just, that's why I'm like, I hate all these eugenics things where like, there's a biological reason. And I'm like, I think this is all socialized. But I think some socialization has cross-cultural reach. That's all.
Also, for the record, I don't think it's like hot if you feel like shit.
No, it's not hot to feel like shit, but if you feel like shit, you still can be hot.
Yes, that's where we're going.
Yes. Okay, so fourth is eye makeup. So, in a recent kind of study that was done, women rated eye makeup as the number one product that enhanced other women's facial attractiveness. So when women,
I can see that.
Yeah, when we look at each other, we're like, her eye makeup looks good.
We're like, damn, awesome. Her liner is like, sharp.
So we like that. And, you know, the people who do the fucking weird biology shit, they're like, well, that's because, this is so creepy, I hate even saying it. Okay. They're like, that's because men want a woman who looks like a child. And children have big eyes and small mouths. So the bigger you can make your eyes look, the more you look like a child, which is what men want. Because of biology and fertility, which is a lie. Everything that links like really young people to fertility is just like some creepy, weird, like pedophile dog whistle thing. So I don't like that. I do not stand by these things. I do think it is just maybe the thing that like your eye, like the eyes are the window to the soul. They make your eyes stand out. You make eye contact with people, you know? What we do know though is that women who wear eye makeup in online dating photos receive 139% more first messages than women who don't.
Oh, I believe that.
So
fully.
Men and women do both like eye makeup.
Yes.
They're like, this looks cool to me. This is good. And the fifth one is blush. Now, this is another weird, creepy objectification of women. I don't know. All this shit about like the biology and the science.
You're going to say something about looking young. I already know it.
What they say is when women are most sexually viable during mid-cycle, during ovulation, or when they are aroused, they blush more easily. So people are like, well, when you wear blush, you're mirroring like this idea of sexual interest and sexual arousal. And
like you're flushed.
Yeah, like you're flushed because you're just so hungry for this man's stupid penis. You can't control it. Yeah. You're just like, oh no, oh look how blushed I am. Ooh, this is what they think.
When in actuality, like people blush because they're hot usually.
Yeah, like it's warm outside.
Like,
yeah,
it's too hot. Where's the AC vibes?
Yes, totally. Or I've been drinking a lot.
Yeah,
hey, very very erotic.
Or like I said something dumb.
But there is evidence that people wearing a little bit of blush on their cheeks, men do find this more attractive. They like this. Yes. So there is a huge difference, like I mentioned, in what people say they're attracted to and what they're actually attracted to. And we know that men in particular, scientifically, are more attracted to women who wear makeup as long as it's not a lot, despite what they say. So they'll tell you they don't like makeup. They can stand a lot of makeup. It has to be really, really over the top before they're like, whoa, that chick's kind of wearing a lot of makeup. So, like, their perception of a lot of makeup is, like, really different than women's perception of a lot of makeup. It's super interesting. So, St. Ives conducted research that included 1,000 women and 550 men, and they found that 40% of men think in general women just wear too much makeup out in the world, and 45% of the dudes said that all the makeup that women are wearing, it just turns a guy off completely. They want women to have no makeup at all. But, which isn't most people, but 45% saying that women just shouldn't wear makeup at all, that's a huge number. And also in one 2017 study, 63% of men polled said that they thought women wore makeup in order to trick them.
I love that. I'm like, wow.
But remember there was that one study about how women who wore bold or noticeable lip color were 119% more likely to get messages on a dating app than women who don't? Okay, so this very obviously proves that what men are saying is not reflecting their action. They're just being weird misogynists. They want to hate something women like, and women like makeup. So they're like, no, we actually hate that.
No, I want them to like me.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like also assuming that the only reason women wear makeup is to please men. Yeah. Which is like, no, like when they're like, you wear it to trick us. It's
no, like, I literally like put makeup on because it makes me feel amazing.
Right, because I'm like, because you're playing a character, because it's fun, because it's whatever, yes. Also, that same study that found the 119% more likely to get a message on a dating app if you wear a noticeable lip color, that same study also had only 57% of men saying, actually this is kind of a lot, 57% of men in the study said they don't think bold lipstick on a date's attractive.
What?
Yeah, so what they're saying when they're like, no, I hate it when a woman wears a lot of lipstick, but then their actions are like, I message women wearing a lot of lipstick a lot more. Yeah. Right, but then they say they hate it. but they don't.
They just sound confused.
They're still confused. And then similarly, that same study found women wearing eye makeup are 139% more likely to get messages on a dating app than women who don't. That also found that 66% of men say they don't think a date is attractive if she's wearing eye makeup. So it's like, again,
me showing up with crazy smoky eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hello.
But their actions show they actually love that shit. They just don't know what they're talking about.
I think when I first met my partner, I remember what I wore that night, and it was like a really intense smoky eye. And I asked him what he thought about me that night. When he first met me, he said he thought it was a sex tornado that was gonna like destroy his life.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, yes, like mission accomplished.
Really cool. Yeah.
But then, softy on the inside.
Softy on the inside.
But don't tell anyone.
So, all right, where does all of this discourse about what men think about women wearing makeup, what does it ultimately land on? And I think what men think about makeup might be the thing that's singularly responsible for the no makeup trend.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, I think this could be, because it is one of the most popular makeup looks, according to men, is women who you look at them and you're like, I don't think she's wearing makeup at all, even if she's wearing a lot of makeup.
Right.
Or you're like, she's wearing hardly any, even if it's a lot of makeup.
Yes.
Right. So I think this is like the patriarchal standard of beauty when it comes to makeup. This is how the patriarchy wants all women to look. So according to a study conducted by researchers at Bangor University and Aberdeen University, which was published in the Quarterly Journal of Experimental Psychology, men don't like seeing a ton of makeup on a woman's face. We know that. Men and women both preferred images of models wearing 40% less makeup than they initially put on in the study, according to Time magazine. So this means that people do like it when women are wearing makeup, just not a ton. So if you did like your full beat and then you took off 60% of it, that's when people are like, oh yeah, that looks hot. That is appealing to me. And this is something people always make fun of men for, right? Because men cannot tell when women are wearing makeup, like we talked about. Like, I think men maybe have just become so accustomed to makeup on women as the norm that they view like a baseline makeup routine as being natural with nothing on. Because they are not looking at women without makeup if they are not around a lot of women in their lives. So men online will all be like, I love a woman who wears no makeup, and then show a picture as an example. And if it's a woman who's doing like a full beat, it's just natural colors, you know? And you're like, where's the woman without makeup? Is she in the room with us now? So like, how do you think of natural makeup as a trend? Like, how does it differ from other types of makeup? You might be better equipped to explain it.
I mean, it definitely goes along with like the character thing for me. Because there's sometimes where people, like Barbie, I'll use Barbie as a good reference point because she can go either way. Barbie, sometimes I'll show up on set and she wants to play the character of like the no makeup girly, like, oh, look at me, I don't,
Yeah.
And then sometimes she'll come in and just be like, give me a beat.
Yeah.
It's like a really like fierce, ferocious, like powerful statement, So I think that, I don't know, it's hard because I really respect like both, but I can go either way too.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard for me. I love both.
No, I do like the idea that it's just different characters you play.
But I will say though that more people that kind of get under my skin request no makeup.
Interesting.
Yeah. So people that I'm just sort of like, oh, I don't know if I like you. Like.
Right. Interesting. So I think maybe, I think what we've learned is that the only makeup men conceptualize as being okay makeup is either you look like you're wearing hardly any and they think it's nothing, or you have the red lip and then it's like, now you're wearing makeup, you put on a red lip, it's makeup. Yeah. So that's what they think. So I think you're right. It is like a character people play, but I think the no makeup thing to me in my head, maybe it's just because I don't do it.
Yeah, what do you think? I want to know.
Well, I don't ever do it. So I'm like, I'm not going to wear makeup at all.
You don't have makeup on right now?
No, I don't. No.
So you're playing the character.
But no, I just didn't put on makeup, There's like having a no makeup trend, I think, is the thing. Where it's not like you just show up and you're like, yeah, I'm not wearing anything. It's like you put in a lot of effort to make it look like you just woke up like this.
I've seen your makeup trend change, though, from more to less back to more.
Yeah, but I don't think I ever have tried to look natural.
I kind of think you have.
When?
I think you went through a time where you were just wearing like a mascara and like a really soft eyeshadow and like a more natural lip.
When was that?
I don't know. I feel like your hair was a color that you were like, I can't like, wear a lot of makeup or something.
Interesting. Because I feel like I've always, since I've known you, done a winged eyeliner.
Definitely. But I think there was like a moment there where it was like, I was like, oh, our makeup looks really natural.
Interesting.
And you also, when I first met you, I still remember what you wore. You wore this Kevin Aquan concealer all over your face.
I still have that.
Yeah.
That's
it's
like
a great
full
concealer.
coverage.
Yeah, that is a great concealer.
That's what I'm like, I don't think I've ever been like a dewy skin, natural makeup girly.
And then you did. You went from like that to like a lighter. I remember you started saying you were using this foundation I gave you that was like really light coverage.
Interesting.
I think maybe I duped you. Or maybe you duped yourself.
I think I just use whatever you give me, and that's what affects my makeup.
You're freaking, like,
I'm freaking. Yeah. I'm just like, whatever, I'll take it.
But I do think that there was a time where I remember distinctly you being like, yeah, I've been really into, like, mineral powders or something. And I was like, oh, like a lightweight, like, you know, transparent powder. And you went from like a foundation powder to that, which is like a big transition.
Okay, I will say that when I think I'm going to sweat, I do a different makeup routine, and it's more cream-based.
Yes.
So I'll do like a cream blush, a cream highlighter, like a cream lip, and that is definitely a thing. But even then, I think I'm still wearing the winged eyeliner, which I'm not committed to. There have been periods in my life where I did not wear it.
Wait, can I out you? One of my favorite things about you?
Yeah.
You will recycle your winged liner.
Yeah. I'll wear it for days. Yeah.
I love it so much.
What? Yeah. You wake up in the morning and just add more over it. Of course.
I love it. It's
I
so
already
good.
started. Why would I start over?
Because it's like always, I feel like in Europe, people are always like, yeah, we want that like no makeup look like you slept in it. And I'm like, oh no, but you don't know the people that actually sleep in it.
Sleep in makeup. And
like
makeup with
wish.
it smeared everywhere.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. So this whole like no makeup trend, obviously women do not wear makeup just to please men, right? But I think that the people who, this is what I've landed on, the people who like the no makeup trend, it does, whether they intend for it to be or not, it does become a way for women to perform socially acceptable femininity without appearing garish to men, and men do control society. And I could see this being strategically beneficial for you based on your job, certain jobs.
Yeah.
And also just like, based on how you move through the world sometimes.
Well, you know that, like, for castings, for models, they have to be, like, no makeup.
Yeah.
Like, literally, it's like, okay, what's most palatable by everyone, you know?
Right. So I think maybe the thing about the no makeup, like, look, isn't that a certain type of person likes it more. It's that society has deemed it to be very acceptable. So people maybe sometimes consciously or unconsciously will get certain advantages by presenting themselves that way in society. And it just is one of those things. But I think it's really interesting. I think there's some tie-in with patriarchy and no makeup. And there were some people who've talked about this. Like, this one article I read interviewed this woman named Natasha, who's a 28-year-old software engineer, and she loves the no makeup trend. She loves minimal makeup. And she said that she learned from a young age that men judge women for makeup choices. So we have this quote from her, and she says, when I was really young, my older brother used to tell me women are more beautiful with natural makeup. So he said, if I do wear makeup, it needs to be done in a way that men don't know that I'm wearing it. And that has shaped her perception of how makeup looks good.
That's so sad.
I know, it is sad, but it's like also, Natasha as a software engineer probably is a
shitty brother. Oops.
Yep, but though might be enjoying some professional benefits that come along with that. And there are, like, you can't deny patriarchy, like, exists and, like, rules our country especially, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the world. And people who figure out the rules of patriarchy, if you do it strategically, you can enjoy some benefits. So, yeah, I think some people are accidentally doing it. I think some people are consciously doing it. I definitely think, like, women who perform sex work, like, they know. They're like, this is what the client's like. This is what I'm doing. And they'll put on different characters, too, obviously. Super smart, right? So I think there's a lot that goes into that. And I think all of this kind of, like, is a good segue into the idea of makeup and gender on the whole. Because everything we've been talking about so far has been women. And women are obviously affected a lot. Because I think most women wear makeup throughout their lives. But obviously, there's a lot of people who have queer identities, too, that engage in, like, makeup. And by women, I mean mostly cisgender women, but also trans women. But I think the way, like, trans women engage with makeup is probably a unique experience as well. I think that's safe to say, even
Totally. I've given so many lessons to trans women that, you know, creates this new, like, version of who they, you know, are. And it's like, this is the person I am, and I finally feel it and see it. And, like, yeah, it's, like, affirming, gender affirming.
Right. So makeup can obviously, yes, be a tool for gender affirmation for trans women, but also for non-binary or gender non-conforming people, or even, like, trans men seeking to amplify things like their eyebrows, or even give an illusion of, like, a faux beard.
Yeah, or, like, queer guys, gay guys. Like, haven't you seen the gay guys with the dip brow?
Yes!
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
it
like
can be totally
the
an
full
affirming
like spectrum
thing.
kaleidoscope eye, you know.
Exactly.
Or even like my partner. I mean, I'm not going to talk about his like sexuality, but I do think that, you know, we first met, he was really curious about makeup, and I made him a little box and like gave him a lash curler and like a ball. You know, he had his little makeup kit, and I've done it for Eve's tumor I work with a lot too, and you know, he loves makeup. He's like very Bowie vibes, and I made him a little makeup box for tour, and it's like the countless times I've worked on guys that have been actually genuinely curious about how to enhance certain things or how to like disguise certain things, and I'm like, okay, so see, sometimes things can change, and you know, the world can get a little bit cozier.
I think so too. Yeah, and I feel like this is something that is often overlooked in conversations about gender and makeup and presentation, because it is easy to conceptually like demonize makeup, but makeup can be this really beautiful, affirming thing for people of every gender expression to help them feel more comfortable in their skin and more like themselves. And we know that gender affirming care of any kind is really important because data from more than a dozen studies of more than 30,000 transgender and gender diverse young people consistently shows that access to anything gender affirming is associated with better mental health outcomes, and that lack of access to like gender affirming care in particular is associated with higher rates of suicidality, depression, and self-harming behavior. And obviously, putting on makeup isn't like healthcare, right? Like trans healthcare is a really important issue. People need access to gender affirming healthcare, but makeup can be a tool of like gender affirmation for a lot of queer people. You know, it can be something that, like we were talking about, makes you feel more like yourself. And I have a quote here from Cyrus Vasey, who's a New York-based influencer and makeup artist, who says their experiences with cosmetics have shown them that, quote, beauty is a form of expression, but more importantly, it's a source of forgiveness.
Oh,
I know, I love that. And they say, makeup and beauty have given me gender-affirming access to not just become closer to and more comfortable with my identity, but also help heal years of insecurities. And it's so personal, right? Because what's affirming will feel different to everybody. Like, gender is a spectrum, and how we relate to it is even more diverse because it's so personal and so varied. But, like, you as an individual falling somewhere on a gender spectrum or, you know, whatever, wanting to reflect who you feel you are inside, there are some things that are easier for you to access, and makeup is one of them.
Yes.
So makeup is a really important part, I think, of like building queer identities, and it has been used by queer people for centuries to express it. And one of the ways that I think is really interesting is drag makeup. Mm-hmm. So the term drag queen is thought to have originated with a black man named William Dorsey Swan, who was born into slavery in 1858 and emancipated in 1863, and later became a leading figure of the LGBTQ community by hosting a bunch of balls, drag parties in Washington, D.C.
Yes, ballroom culture was a huge part of, like...
Right. And when he was arrested all the time during raids of his house for these parties, whatever, you know, he was often found in, like, beautiful gowns and makeup and, like, full beats. And, you know, Trixie Mattel? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trixie Mattel, obviously a really popular drag queen now. Brian Firkus is her man name. When she is not Trixie, she's Brian Firkus. And Brian Firkus has called makeup power tools before.
Oh, I believe that, like, 100%. It really is.
Yeah, and as Brian, he says that he's been described specifically as this, an unprepossessing bald man from Wisconsin. It's not the most, okay.
It's so funny.
Yeah, but as Trixie, the New York Times describes him as an ample-bosomed blonde with dramatically oversized meerkat-like eyes and rigid, intentionally obvious blusher lines. And they also said that, you know, Trixie combines the flossy-haired sweetness of Dolly Parton with an unnerving toy-come-to-life quality that seems to serve as its own walking, talking critique of the way in which we objectify ourselves in the name of beauty. And it's like, that's so much more compelling, like, you know? And yeah, you use the power tools of makeup to go from being Brian Firkus to being Trixie Mattel.
Literally. What would the drill be?
The brush, right? The blender? The beauty blender? Is that the drill?
I'm dead.
I think it is.
I don't know, I feel like the drill's the eyeliner.
Oh.
I'm thinking more like, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. So Firkus says, as far as drag goes, I was never really interested in looking like a beautiful woman. I was interested in looking like I had come off an assembly line with screened makeup on my plastic head. I remember seeing early 60s Barbie in this sort of bedroom eye. She had this floating blue lid and a severe brow, and it was a light bulb moment for me. Oh, I could change my anatomy to the point of not even looking male or female. I could look like nothing, not even a person.
A man tricked all of the men when previously it was like, oh, women are tricking everyone.
Yes. But I think this is really cool. I love this idea. It's like you can use makeup to literally look like an inhuman object if you want.
Avatars.
If that is not freedom from like a gender binary, what is?
I really wish that there was like a moment in time where we could wake up and like push a SIM button on our phone, you know, not talking SIM card, I'm talking like SIM.
Like The Sims.
The Sims.
Yeah.
Like.
And become a Sim.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just be like, okay, today I'm going to have brown hair and like brown eyes and.
Yes.
I'm going to look like a tomato today.
Tomato day. Yeah, that would be so fun. The thing that just made me think about with the drag makeup is I feel like you did the King Princess drag makeup, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh, that was like such a thing at that time.
It really was, and I think it was really iconic to a lot of people to have like King Princess lesbian, right? Doing drag makeup, which is like interesting because it's like it's a meta commentary on femininity, right? And it did look like drag on King Princess.
And it was like actually Michael Bailey Gates shot it, who's a dear friend, and he was like, I want it to look like old drag makeup though, not like new like Trixie Mattel drag makeup. And I was like, same page, like I feel you, let's do that. And so wild. Cheap Queen was the album cover for Cheap Queen.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think that like a lot of your work, especially like your more creative work, deals with like queer expressions of makeup. You know, especially with Michael Bailey Gates.
For sure.
Too.
I mean, I feel like I myself have been like a queer expression of my own makeup. There's a moment in time where I had no makeup and like, you know, fluorescent green shaved head and, you know, wore like big baggy clothes and was definitely like giving non-binary. And now it's like the exact polar opposite. And it's literally all being expressed with makeup and like clothes, fashion.
Yeah, fashion. And makeup's a component of fashion. Yeah. I think it is like a really... It's just interesting because the Trixie Mattel thing about power tools, it's like it is a tool and it can be used to achieve whatever goal you're trying to achieve, you know? And it can be used by the patriarchy as a way to oppress women, for sure. It can also be used by queer people as a way to affirm their identities and relate to each other, or even just like have a little fun and be playful. It can be used by
and to protect yourself, like you were saying about the punks, like, you know, being a bit more scary, or the goths being a bit more scary to like ward off any like homophobic predators, you know?
Yeah, completely. And this kind of like also brings me into like men and their expressions of makeup. And like we did talk about how up to a certain point it was pretty common for men to wear makeup. Like we talked about the Neanderthal makeup, we talked about the ancient Egyptian makeup. And there is this author named David Yee who talks about this, and he wrote a book called Pretty Boys, Legendary Icons Who Redefined Beauty and How to Glow Up Too. And he talks about the history of men wearing makeup and men engaging with makeup.
Hot.
Yeah, and it only has really been out of fashion for men to engage in makeup for a few hundred years, and it's coming back again.
It's so funny because I feel like everybody I've dated has, you know, that is cis male has been obsessed with makeup. Yeah. And they just aren't forthcoming about that.
Yes, there's not like a space.
It's like,
to
oh, you're a
it.
safe space. Now I can talk to you about how obsessed I am with it. It's so funny, like.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, I remember Chris one year went as me for Halloween.
Oh, yeah. I suggested that or something. I think I gave him, like, something of yours to wear.
Yes, and he wore his own dress. He has his own dress. He likes wearing the dress. So he wore the dress with, like, my denim jacket over it, I think.
Wait, are you sure I didn't give him a leopard dress?
No, it was his floral dress.
Oh, yeah.
And his grungy dress. And then, he had makeup on, and he was like, oh, the worst part about it.
We went to the party together.
Yes, you went to a party together, yes. And he told me later that he felt like he didn't look good in makeup. And he felt so bad. He's like, the makeup doesn't look good on me. But yeah. So we've obviously seen the pendulum swing start to come back. Like, men, like, cis men who are like, yeah, I'm just a dude. Like, no, like, queer expression of gender identity, at least, happening here, have been engaging with makeup more and more. And it's a thing that's come back full circle, kind of, I guess, and now it's more commonplace. So, do you know John Lewis? It's a British chain of department stores. I've never heard of it.
No.
Okay, well, apparently in 2021, they announced that they were opening permanent makeup counters for men because they had done this trial in a flagship London store, and it was super successful. And there is this one cosmetic company called War Paint for Men, which I just think the name is atrocious.
Wait, what?
Yeah, but they have a range of, like, dude-focused cosmetics, and
this is dark-sided. Take it away from them.
I know. The demand was apparently 50% higher than expected. And I hate that it's called War Paint for Men. Like, the name is bad because it means they still have to try to make it sound hyper-masculine and ridiculous, which is, like, silly.
Grow up.
But if it makes, like, straight cis men who want to engage in makeup feel more comfortable, like, because it's gender affirming for them in some way.
Yeah, but I'm also just like, bro, we've given you so much. Like, we've held your hand for so long. Like,
just buy the makeup.
Yeah, grow up.
Just
like,
buy the makeup.
Stop needing more hand holding.
Yeah. So the founder of this company, Warpaint, Daniel Gray, he says, we're finally starting to see men's makeup become the norm and break the stigma that's been around for years. And it is true that we've seen the male personal care market like grown exponentially over the past decade. Lots of big brands are starting to participate.
YSL's last campaign was like all men.
Yeah, Tom Ford, Chanel have done male beauty products.
And it was like heterosexual men.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't just like a bunch of like, you know, gay dudes and like...
It was straight cis men.
Yeah, straight cis.
Cis many men. Those are the... we need a word for that. I guess straight cis is the word. It's 2 words.
Can we just like make like an acronym?
Scum is that was the Scum manifesto. Okay, so whatever, people are into it, and I feel like also in our lifetime, the 2000s and 2010s, we saw influencers like Jeffree Star and James Charles, who yeah, right, both of them ended up kind of not so great.
Ate their yaks.
Ate their yaks?
You don't know about this?
No.
Oh my god, Jeffree Star like started a yak farm.
No.
Yeah, and then he had all these yaks and then he ate them. The end.
Everything I hear about this person is so horrible.
I know.
I hate it.
But I have a guilty confession.
What is it?
He makes really good makeup.
Oh, the Jeffree Star Cosmetics.
Yeah.
I have used a lipstick once and it was pretty good.
Right.
Well, whatever the case about their ethics and morality, these men did help normalize, like, men having like a full face of makeup in recent years. Also, a lot of people say K-pop is a reason men feel more comfortable wearing makeup because like K-pop men are seen as sex symbols. So they're like,
I mean, Korean beauty culture is like another level.
Yeah, Korean beauty culture is super, super interesting. So people are just, for whatever reason, feeling more confident if they're men to like engage in makeup. And it doesn't even have to be like the full face glam thing that like James Charles and Jeffree Star did, right? You could do more of like a natural look for men. Yeah, totally. And the growth of this kind of makeup is also, people are linking it to like just more interest in kind of disavowing the gender binary of its mythos, right? Just being like, there is no gender binary. Like, gender is a spectrum, and I fall somewhere on it, you fall somewhere on it, we all fall somewhere on it. And that means that I have the freedom to decide which elements of like feminine culture or masculine culture I get to engage with when.
Are you a no makeup baddie or are you a makeup baddie?
Right.
Which end of the spectrum
or
are you?
Or are you an actually no makeup baddie? There's 3 genders. We just figured that out.
Those are the 3 genders.
Those are the 3 genders. There's also been like evidence that the men's beauty and fashion like market has outpaced the growth of the women's market since 2010, according to like market research companies, which means that men are just like increasingly becoming more interested in beauty culture on the whole. And 2/3 of Gen Z have said that they're interested in gender-free beauty products rather than like traditional like this is for men, this is for women, which is where like the war paint for men thing kind of goes off the rails. Or they're like, just make the makeup and make it be for everybody. And we'll figure out our own gender. You just make the products.
Yeah, like we're smart enough. We don't need something to say our gender on it.
Right, exactly. And I have this really good quote from a New York Times article by Megan O'Grady about makeup and men and gender norms. And she says, women have never been entirely free from makeup stigma. I think of a college friend, a woman, who felt that wearing it was a crime against feminism, a form of pandering rather than a personal preference. I think also of overhearing a gentleman at a literary party hissing at his wife, "You look like a geisha," racist.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he sneered it, referring to her cheek slash of bright matte lipstick on an otherwise bare face. Her crime, of course, was the obvious artifice, the resorting to cheap tricks. The auditing of feminine quote-unquote natural beauty by men is, of course, repugnant, and a cynical part of me welcomes the embrace of makeup for all as a certain acknowledgement from the male sex that they are often looked at and found wanting to. I wonder then if the normalization of makeup use for men doesn't so much disrupt our way of thinking about the things we do to feel beautiful as it allows us a means of revisiting the same old question in a different light. To what extent are personal tastes inherently our own, and to what extent are we unconsciously appeasing cultural norms? And isn't it, in the end, just makeup? And I liked that. I thought that was a really interesting assessment. And it does kind of, when we open up the idea of like men engaging with beauty culture the same way women do, you kind of naturally have a bunch of questions about like where the social expectation is, where the personal choice is, like, and I think it does kind of fall in favor of that idea that like people wear makeup because they like it.
Right.
You know, it's fun. It's nice.
Also, like, people get influenced.
People do
Being
get influenced.
an influencer is a real thing.
Yes.
I feel like sometimes I'll see something happen. I'll see an ad come out. I'll see somebody shoot something. And then next thing you know, somebody's sitting in my chair that's like, yeah, I really want to get this. And it's like, you know, exactly what I saw in the ad.
Right.
And like, honestly, half the time it's a guy.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, I like to fill my brows in a little bit more here. Or I like to be like not as shiny here, you know?
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Have you noticed a change? Because you've been doing makeup now for over a decade.
Yes.
Have you noticed a change in how men who you do makeup on are relating to makeup?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is like a really funny thing. When I first started doing makeup, it was very common to be like on set and having someone not really pay much attention to the male talent when they come in. Like, oh, they come in, don't worry, you don't have to do anything to them. They can just go straight to set. Which I feel like is pretty neglectful.
Yeah.
It's like, I kind of want to make everybody feel special that I sit with. I want to, like, understand them, make them feel good. Because part of our job is, like, coach, you know? Like, make this person feel as comfortable with themselves and as much seen as themselves as possible so they can feel confident on camera. So now I feel like if a guy comes on set and a client's like, don't worry about them, like, you don't need to pay... the male talent gets upset.
Oh.
They're like, no, like, I get touched too, you know? And
Yeah.
they'll, like, get a full face massage and, like, concealer, you know? And this is for, like, minimal makeup.
Yeah.
But, yeah, sometimes I'll do, like, full, like... I've worked with, like, NFL players that I've had to do, like, full, like, foundation, concealer,
No
powder.
makeup.
Yes, exactly.
They're adhering to it too
Yeah.
now. Okay.
So there's some no makeup NFL baddies out there, just saying.
Okay, I appreciate knowing
Yeah.
that, honestly. That might be the only thing I know about football now.
Oh, I was on set and I'm like with this huge major like NFL player, don't even know his name. And I was like, oh my god, slam dunk! And everybody was like, what? And I was like, did I say something wrong? And they're like, that's basketball.
That's me.
Yeah, literally.
Engaging with sports. Okay, so obviously there are still some adverse effects of like makeup culture, and I thought we'd talk about them. I have 3 here that I thought were interesting to talk about. And the first one is that even if we're like breaking down stereotypes and expanding like makeup's use, and it is something that's not just for women now, there is still, yes, the social expectation that women are expected to always wear makeup. And that's how you perform femininity.
Yes.
And I think we still deal with that. I think it's getting better, but
Yeah.
I think we do still deal with that. So a recent experiment revealed that women pictured wearing makeup were evaluated as healthier, more confident, and having greater earning potential, like money, than the same woman wearing no makeup at all.
That's so funny because I'm thinking about some of the highest earning people I know and they like don't wear makeup.
Right. But I think you have an interesting like cross-section because you work in such a creative field.
Yeah, that's true.
You know?
That's very true.
Like,
okay,
if you
let's
work...
think of like rich people in the United States.
Like if you're like a CEO and you're a woman, you've got to wear a little makeup.
Yeah, it's giving like a no makeup person.
And no makeup look, but still,
Yeah,
still makeup. Yeah. And this suggests that makeup has a potentially useful role in like strategic self-presentation, right? Like, I'm looking out for myself. This is what everybody thinks makes me look like I deserve a raise, so I guess I'll wear it.
Oh yeah, I go there. I mean, sorry I'm talking about myself so much, but obviously
No, that's why you're here.
But I think that sometimes I'll go on sets with people that are very vanilla and I'll dumb myself down.
Right.
Literally, I'll be like, well, today I'm not wearing a wing. I'm literally just no makeup girl. Like,
right. It's
yeah.
because that's sometimes your client is your boss in some situations,
Yeah.
and you gotta do what makes the boss happy sometimes, which is wild. But it also, because of this, it means that makeup, instead of being like this fun thing that you get to do to express yourself, sometimes you're using it to express what somebody else thinks you should be, and it's not yourself at all, and it ends up being this like prison you put yourself in, and it's like you locked yourself inside of the prison that you have to in order to be taken seriously in society.
Totally.
But you don't feel like yourself at all. And you might have to spend your whole life confined in that, depending on who you are and what job you do or what the expectation is of people around you. And there's also this thing called the beauty premium that kind of touches on this. We have found that conventionally attractive women by mainstream social standards are offered better jobs and promoted more frequently than women who are not. Yeah, and that goes along with it. So if society is like having no makeup on, a full beat that looks like you're not wearing that much makeup is what makes you more attractive, that is the thing that will make you get better jobs, earn more money, and be taken more seriously. So this woman's ability to adhere to mainstream patriarchal beauty standards does have a material effect on her life in the end. And what we see is that 14% of women in one study said that they would absolutely refuse to leave the house if they didn't have makeup on. 17% said they would call off a date if they couldn't get their face completely done the way that they like to. Yeah, so this
pressure.
is almost 1 in 5 women are like, I just won't even go on a date if I can't wear makeup.
Oh my gosh.
Right, and we see that it is for many people kind of like this prison they're forced into. So Dr. Brooke Aaron Duffy, who's an associate professor at Cornell, says women are expected to be effortlessly, naturally beautiful in a way that requires things like makeup and filters. But if you go too far, you're seen as a fake, a fraud, or narcissistic. And this sets women up for intense scrutiny and ultimately failure. And one Refinery 29 article explained this phenomenon by saying, by wearing too much makeup, we are seen as duplicitous. By wearing too little, we are not playing the rules of the game.
What a tightrope.
It is a tightrope. That's the experience of femininity. You walk this tightrope. You have to do all of these things, but not too much or not too little, or you're wrong. And makeup's part of that. And the second thing that was like an interesting byproduct of makeup kind of culture that could be adverse is the chemical makeup of it, like toxicity.
Oh, yeah. Like, clean makeup has become such a huge, like, movement. I think there was a moment in time, like, 5 years ago where everybody was like, well, got to get rid of my entire makeup kit because, you know, all my clients want clean beauty exclusively.
So what would that, like, mean? Like, what would be the difference in the composition?
Well, I think that, like, at that point in time, like, a lot of brands weren't clean. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll see more recently, like, House Labs, for instance, just went clean. Like, every product they sell is clean. Whereas before it wasn't.
What does that mean, like, clean makeup, though?
Like, formaldehyde free.
Oh,
like, you know, some people have... There's a lot of, like, allergens. Like, I think formaldehyde's probably one of the biggest ones that people talked about. But, like, I have some clients who, like, can't have certain dyes in their makeup and can't have certain, like, you know... It's... Basically, they stop putting lead in makeup.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you're actually not.
Oh, really?
Yes, you're
Stop.
not. Okay.
Oh, my God.
So we already talked about some of the makeup ingredients that were used in, like, decades of the past, right? Plants, animal fats, spices, vermilion, olive oil, charcoal, red ochre, fruits, vinegar, but also, like, lead and mercury were really common, right? And by 1930, cosmetics companies in the United States in particular were kind of running amok. They were using all sorts of these really bad ingredients everywhere they could. In 1933, a woman was hospitalized with excruciating eye pain, and her eyes were literally eaten away like it was like acid. That's what they thought happened. And it turned out to be an eyelash darkening treatment called Lash Lure, which contained this thing I can't even pronounce, paraphenyldiamine, which was a toxic coal tar dye that literally ate her eyeballs.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's also Coremlu, which is a depilatory that contained the rat poison thallium acetate. That used to be widely marketed throughout the 1930s, and it sold at $10 a jar, which was really, really expensive back then. But it caused baldness, pain, and paralysis in people who used it. Yeah. And in 1936, Ruth DeForest Lamb's book, American Chambers of Horror, about the FDA's cautionary display of, like, fraudulent and dangerous products came out. And it talked about this woman who had dark rings around her eyes and necks. And then she got bluish black gums and her teeth started getting really loose. And she ended up being found out, like, it was revealed that she had mercury poisoning that was caused by a cream she was putting on her face. Yeah, and this magic beautifying cream had been on the market for decades, even though people knew that it contained a mercury compound.
Wow.
So, in 1938, Congress passed the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, which enabled the FDA to initiate action in federal courts to do things like seize Lash Lure from the market. Just fucking eating your eyeballs. Don't want that. Other dangerous products, too. And it gave the FDA power to act against dangerous cosmetics through the Department of Justice and the federal court system. But to this day, many cosmetics on the market that we are really familiar with, that we use all the time, still do contain lead, arsenic, mercury, aluminum, zinc, calcium, and iron, despite the fact that exposure to some of these metals has been linked to reproductive, immunal, and nervous system toxicity.
Yeah, there was actually, it's so funny because the FDA is different than, like, you know, the rest of the world's beauty regulations. And
totally.
So you can tap into, like, you know, if I fly to Europe, there's a bunch of different products there that I can't get here and vice versa. But there was this one thing that happened on set one day where this hairspray that you can only get in Europe that's really cool. It's, like, really beautiful. It has the most perfect shine. I, like, had put it on somebody's body one day, and then somebody else was like, oh, yeah, you know, so-and-so, another makeup artist, uses that on people's face. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? Uses it on their face? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, it has butane in it.
Butane?
Butane. So it was just taken off of the market, like, with that. But yeah, admittedly, so I did use it on somebody's body. And then I found out I had butane. And I was like, oh, maybe I should not do that.
Yeah, that's really, really wild.
But sometimes, like, you can't even see the ingredients on the bottle, which is so scary.
That is the major issue.
It's hidden from people.
Yes. So even though we know things like formaldehyde is a carcinogenic, right? Or there's, like, ethanol aminase, which are linked to liver tumors, bioaccumulation, and organ system toxicity. There's all these reasons why it's really hard to enforce. And one of them is that, yes, the FDA requires U.S. manufacturers to report the safety of their cosmetics and to, like, you're supposed to mark your ingredients on things, but companies are not.
No.
They are not. And so you could unwittingly be doing something like this and you would have no idea. Cosmetics also do not undergo the same, like, stringent pre-market approval that drugs do, with the exception of any color additives, unless they contain sunscreen. Then they go through more screenings, I guess. Yeah. So this National Institute of Environmental Health Science, they will test chemicals in cosmetics, and they have found that some chemicals in cosmetics will be classified as endocrine disrupting, which means they interfere with your body's hormones and cause adverse health effects.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but they also have found all sorts of other things. So, like, one study found that for white women in particular, those classified as moderate to frequent users of beauty products in general had increased risk of breast cancer relative to people who said that they didn't use them that much.
Yeah.
Frequent users of skincare products had an increased risk of breast cancer as well, regardless of race. The average woman in the U.S., meanwhile, uses 12 different cosmetic products a day, composed of 168 chemical ingredients. And in 2021, a study found that 52% of makeup commonly used in the USA and Canada has those things called PFAS, P-F-A-S. Have you heard of this? They're like the forever chemicals is what people call them.
Yes.
Yeah. And some of the highest levels were found in foundation, 63%, waterproof mascara, 82%, and long-lasting lipstick, like I like to wear, 62%.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the FDA says they're intentionally added to products like lotions, cleansers, nail polish, shaving cream, foundation, lipstick, eyeliner, etc., to condition, smooth, or make skin appear shiny to affect product consistency and texture. And what this study found is that 88% of the tested products failed to disclose on their label any ingredients that would explain them having those chemical markers. So like you were talking about, where you're like, yeah, I used this thing. I didn't know it had butane in it. How would I know? It's because people, even in the United States, I know that was in Europe, they aren't disclosing the products like they're supposed to. So they're supposed to have this ingredient list, and they don't mention they have any of these potentially dangerous chemicals in them. And then these companies are like, okay, well, we are an independent, like, verifying source. We're going to run a report on this. And they're like, you have all of these chemicals in here. Like, where is this coming from? Your ingredients list means this should not exist in here, but it does.
Do you want to know a funny story about makeup ingredients?
Yes.
I was booked on this job with a client of mine, and I had to fly to Italy, like, the next day. Mm-hmm. And I packed up really quick, got on the plane, and as I was flying, the publicist of the client was like, hey, by the way, like, major allergy, like, issues, and, you know, your kit can't have any of these in it. And I, like, look through, and it's a list of, like, you know, ingredients that I was like, I have to sit and on this flight Google every single thing in my kit.
Whoa.
And see what I can and cannot use.
Wow.
And honestly, it kind of passed the test.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, wait, I'm feeling good about this.
Yeah.
But,
I feel like you've always liked, like, clean ingredient type things.
Yeah, also, like, I think the brands that I was really drawn to, even from, like, you know, my childhood, have all been, like, kind of punk. And, like, the punks always kind of give a shit.
Yeah, they care a little
Turns
more.
out.
Yeah, it's true. So David Andrews is a senior scientist for the Environmental Working Group, or EWG, which is a consumer organization that maintains a database on personal care products that have these types of toxins. And he says that the most common PFAS is this thing called polytetrafluoroethylene, which is the ingredient most commonly known as Teflon.
Oh, wow.
Pans. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he said all in all, they identified 13 different of these forever chemicals in more than 600 products from 80 brands. And these chemicals are usually made up of a chain of linked carbon and fluorine atoms, which don't degrade in the environment. They just kind of exist forever. And scientists can't even estimate an environmental half-life for them because they just have lasted so long we don't even know when 50% is done.
Microplastic vibe.
Yeah, kind of. It's just like these things that are just going to stick around forever. And they're used in lots of things, nonstick cookware, cell phones, semiconductors, commercial aircraft, low emissions vehicles. They're also used to make like carpet, clothing, furniture, food packaging resistant to stains, water, and grease damage. And foods that contain a lot of grease, like burgers, fries, and cookies, their wrappers usually have these things in them. And recently there was this whole movement to like change it, and they got rid of like a couple specific ones, but now they just basically make the packaging for food in particular have different but nearly similar PFAS in them.
Like, let's fix the problem with the new problem.
Exactly. It's just like a kind of different form that comes about. So microbiologist Linda Birnbaum, who's the former director of the National Institute for Environmental Health Sciences and the National Toxicology Program, says some people call it the whack-a-mole problem. Others call it the chemical conveyor belt. We don't really require adequate safety testing before things are put on the market. So it's like you knock out one specific chemical component, like three
Another
more
one pops up. Yeah.
So, you know, anything that's like kind of waterproof or long lasting as a product probably has these like PFAS chemicals in it.
Bro,
I know this is
fucked.
how I got so much cancer cooking in my body right now all the time. Oh my god, I also have had all the markers for cervical precancer.
Yeah.
The high grade CA2, yeah.
Maybe you need to go clean with your kit.
Maybe I do.
Maybe it's your no makeup baddie era.
Oh god. Well, much of the makeup with the highest levels of these chemical markers were labeled as wear resistant or long lasting, and that's my life. Yeah. So Dr. Whitney Bowe, who's a clinical assistant professor of dermatology at the Icahn School of Medicine at Mount Sinai Medical Center, says, although I've often counseled my patients to avoid products with perfluor or polyfluor in the ingredient list, this new study concerns me because many of the products contaminated with these compounds did not even list these compounds on the ingredients list. So what you were talking about, yeah. And these are called forever chemicals, right?
Or they'll print them like microscopic.
Yeah, or if you don't know to look for it, why would you think to look for it? If you don't know that that's dangerous, you could see it and be like, okay.
I think people just glance at labels and they're like, I have no idea what these words mean.
Yeah, I just look for, is it tested on animals?
Right.
That's it. That's literally all I look for.
You said long wearing and vegan.
Yeah, long wearing and vegan. Yeah, that's what I look for. And, you know, how dangerous are these forever chemicals? I think the issue is, like, we don't know. They're really widespread. Levels of any kind have been detected in the blood of 97% of Americans.
Wow.
So we all have the contamination with these things that live on in our body forever, and our bodies don't break them down. And it's a little scary, right? Because you don't know. And that's the whole thing. We don't know what a lot of these chemicals in our cosmetics are doing. The things we do know are showing up in our cosmetics. We still are sometimes seeing lead. We still are sometimes seeing mercury. And we do know what those do.
There's still, like, formaldehyde and stuff.
Yeah, there's still formaldehyde. We know formaldehyde's a carcinogen. It's going to give you cancer. There are things that we do know exactly what they're doing, and those haven't even been removed. So this whole new world where it's like, well, what about these other chemicals? We're like, we can't even get started on that because we still haven't got rid of the lead and the mercury and the formaldehyde.
Right.
Super interesting.
The world is burning.
The world is burning, and that leads me to the third issue with the cosmetics industry is that it exists in capitalism. It's a huge business, and it can be evil as far as businesses go.
Did you Google the percentages of how much, like, the beauty industry has gone up?
It actually has been on a slight decline.
Oh, really?
Since 2019, it's been down around 4%, but that's kind of, like, hard because I work in fashion and my sales have been down.
Right.
Right, so I'm like, we're kind of just, like, the economy's real weird right now.
Right.
But as of 2019, beauty was still a $530-ish billion industry worldwide. So pretty major. And the biggest cosmetics company in the world is L'Oreal, whose CEO, Nicholas Hieronymus, earns a little under $11 million a year in pay.
Wow.
Yes. And Estee Lauder, for example, is the third largest makeup company in the world.
Estee Lauder owns MAC.
Oh, okay. So their CEO, Fabrizio Freda, earns around $22 million a year as of 2023. And while makeup can be a fun thing, a lot of people are starting to notice that these people are getting really, really rich off of making women feel bad about themselves.
Right.
Because a lot of the advertising for cosmetics, no matter how much you can use it as a tool of empowerment, still does revolve around fixing things that are wrong with you.
It still revolves around red lip.
Red lip! Be hot, red lip!
Right.
Fix ugly! What is that? Ew, fix! And you're like, what's broken here?
I know, I want the, like, cool beauty campaigns to come back. That's, like, my ultimate goal in my lifetime, is to, like, see the freaks back in, like, a beauty campaign.
Yeah, it's like makeup advertisement should inspire you to get creative, not make you realize there's something wrong with you didn't even think was wrong with you until you saw this ad.
Right.
You know? And this is like the problem, right? Because a lot of people are getting really rich off of making women hate themselves. And there is like a widening market share that we know men are having in cosmetics, but women still are spending the most time, energy, and money on beauty products out of any gender expression. And there's this like thing called the beauty gap that explains this, and it's because beauty standards are affecting women more. And one 2017 study found that the average woman uses $8 worth of beauty products every day.
I believe that.
That is so wild to me.
Yeah.
That's like more than I spend on food most
You
days.
probably do use that amount, but it's like free makeup.
It's free makeup you give me.
Yes.
Yes, that's probably true.
Well, that's like the whole thing. My mom, for the record, still lives in the IE, works at like a biker bar part-time as like the secretary of their like, I don't know, treasury.
Social club?
Yeah,
Yeah.
some shit like that. And she comes over for like makeup when I'm giving it away. She gets actually upset that tunnel vision gets so much. I forgot to tell you that. And one day she came by and I gave her a bunch of foundations, and I kind of calculated in my head, this is probably like $5,000 worth of makeup. Just an estimate. And she called me the next day and was like, do you have more? And I was like, what did you do with all that makeup? She's like, I gave it out to Susie and Bill and Bob and da-da-da. And I was like, Jesus, Mom, like, this is... But, go off. Someone that has some cute makeup.
Yeah, it's good. It's a lot, though, and we are really lucky. Everybody who knows Kennedy gets a lot of free makeup. And you also do a lot of things like you were talking about, like...
I do, like, lessons, and I'll ship stuff to, like, trans friends.
Yes,
and, like,
you do a lot of that.
And then the agency I'm with actually gives, like, at the end of the year... They take donations and they give it to, like, the local LGBTQ+, like, center.
That's good. I feel like I usually get the stuff that you opened once and tried, and you were like, and then I'm like, I'll take it.
You choose that stuff.
I like that stuff.
Because I think you and I have similar, like, taste in makeup. I mean, we're best friends. Like, I get that. But I think that I, like, curate your bags, usually.
Oh.
I give you, like, the premium, like...
I get the
top
good.
tier,
yes.
yeah. And then occasionally there'll be something that I tried that I didn't like, but I'm like, oh, Madeline will like this.
Yes, totally. Well, the average woman who's not me, who gets just mountains of makeup for free from Kennedy and doesn't have to think about it, spends up to $225,000 on skincare and makeup during her lifetime.
Wow.
That's like a house.
That is a house.
That's a house, yeah.
Or like a yacht.
Or a yacht.
I'm just kidding.
I have no reference point for how much a yacht costs.
I'm just kidding. That's not how much
does that sound low or high? I don't know.
That's a small yacht.
It's a small yacht. Okay, got it. There's also this thing called the pink tax. 42% of the time, the same product, if marketed to a woman, will be more expensive than comparable products marketed to men.
Oh, so the
war paint. Yeah, their red lipstick's a lot cheaper.
Oh, God. That's so annoying.
And CEOs of beauty companies know that if they want to keep bringing in that money, the easiest way for them to do it is to do what Eugene Schuler, the creator of L'Oreal, said, which is... Tell people they're disgusting, they don't smell good, and they're not attractive.
Wow.
Yep, self-professed marketing technique of cosmetics company. Okay, so this kind of gets us to the end of our episode.
Oh, it's over.
I know, and the question is, what does this mean for a love-hate relationship with makeup?
I mean, I'm always going to love makeup. I feel like, yes, there's a dark side to everything.
Yeah.
You can't, like, just discount something that really does beautiful things for people and... brings light into people's lives and transforms people and, creates an ambiance and, like, a fantasy world for so many people. But there's always a dark side to that.
Well, I think the dark side to everything is just capitalism. Like, when you have a bunch of evil dudes sitting in a room being like, red lip. Yeah, and they're like, how do we get women to buy red lip?
Can we call this episode Red Lip?
We'll call it Red Lip. Yeah, we'll call it that. If you're trying to make them sell all this red lip, they're like, how do we do it? They're like, make women feel like shit about not having red lip.
No, make everybody feel like shit.
Yeah.
Except for the men.
Except for these men in this office.
Yes.
Who are like, we don't even wear makeup.
No, then they get their hand held and get called war paint for men or whatever the fuck.
Exactly, yeah. No, I do think, like, that's the problem, though. It's just, like, the capitalism, the profit incentive. It leads people to cut corners with ingredients. It leads people to be sketchy. And it leads people to, use unscrupulous marketing techniques to get people to buy their products. And that's, like, the market system. That's what you have to do. You have to sell a goal, sell an aspiration, and the way you do that is by telling people you're using makeup to fix something wrong with you, because everything's wrong with you. But, like, that's not the way I think most people engage with makeup in their day-to-day.
I think, like, makeup makes things that you might not love about yourself, like, even more lovable sometimes. Or, like, I'll sit with somebody and, like, show them, like, they'll, hate something, and I'm like, no way, that looks so cool if you do this to it, and it's like, I don't know, I think it's a form of, like, loving yourself more.
Yeah, I think so too. I think to me, makeup is always going to feel like a part of fashion, and I'm a staunch defender of fashion, you know? Because I think fashion is a tool of artistic self-expression, and it has the potential to make you even more yourself.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like makeup falls into the same boat. So
until we can press our sim avatar,
yes,
we have makeup.
We have makeup.
To save, makeup and fashion to save us.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for doing the episode with me, KK.
It's my pleasure.
I'm glad you got
Love
to be
you
here.
so much. And to everybody listening, sorry if I'm annoying.
That's the episode. Red lip. Thanks so much for listening to another episode of Pick Me Up, I'm Scared. If you would like to join us on Patreon, you can find us there at patreon.com/pickmeupimscared. For $3 a month, you can access bonus content there. But if $3 a month is too much for you to spend right now, we totally get it, and we're just happy you're here. As always, you can find the sources for this week's episode just by scrolling down a bit in the description.